Christian County, a tornado warning now just issued. This is going to be for Christian County here. There's a very small section of Sangamon County, but that's not a concern now. We have reason to believe there is a tornado down, if not very close to being down, just east of Sandcrest Lake on the north side of Kincaid there. This storm will be crossing Illinois 29 between Edinburgh and Taylorville, and eventually Illinois 48 from Stonington to Taylorville. Taylorville right now, downtown to the south is okay, but if you're on the north side of Taylorville towards the high school up north, that's where this storm is heading, right through the heart of Christian County, as this tornado warning now just issued will go in effect here for a little while longer. This storm may have already produced a tornado possibly in the Sangamon County. Some initial early reports of a brief touchdown. The National Weather Service is looking into that, but it's very obvious to me right here, about 2 miles north of Kincaid, a possible tornado ongoing at this time, moving to the east. The strongest circulation, strongest signature that we've had here during the day. As we look area-wide real fast, first off, this is where the cluster of storms we're watching is most impressive here. A lot of large hail coming from northern Christian County. That hail could be golf ball size or larger potentially. Seth is in here, and we'll talk about that in a second. I also want to mention my mom and dad are in the Pawnee area, and then Kevin Leidy is in the Edinburgh area as well, and so we will get information from them as the storm moves to the east. Let's talk about who's in and who's out. First off, I know the warning here, we zoom in, you technically see a small part of Sangamon County. Sangamon County all clear at this point from this storm. This is a Christian County problem. If you're watching to the south and west of Taylorville, south and east of Taylorville, you're okay. Mount Auburn, some heavy rain coming your way. You're okay there. Edinburgh, go ahead and shelter. The north side of Taylorville, we'll go ahead and keep an eye there on Taylorville north to Stonington, right in between there, and then towards Moweko and Assumption, eventually heading towards US 51 in that direction. As I zoom in here, I want to talk about what we see. First off, this is the hook of the storm right here. Illinois 104, the power plant for Sandcrest Lake sits right in here. That just moved over Sandcrest Lake and some of the campgrounds there, now moving east from that. Remember, radar gives us a scan and it will move forward a little bit. By now, it's probably getting a little closer to Sharpsburg there on Illinois 29. If we flip over to the velocity, here it is. That's a strong couplet there. Those greens and reds coming together, signs of a tornado or one imminent with this particular storm. And as we look here, it does appear that I don't see anything definitive, but what I do see is that there's a boundary that's being pulled into the storm, but I don't see debris on it yet at this point. I think I heard Kevin. If we can put him on story wall left for me, just so I can see where he is, that'd be helpful. Great concern now for Kincaid North, Sharpsburg. Looks like we're okay, Pawnee. Tovi, give us a little bit of time here to get it past you. Edinburgh should be south, but I tell you what, Edinburgh, go ahead and shelter for me anyways. There's a strong circulation that has possibly produced already a tornado in the New City area, continues off to the east, and so that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on. Real quick, Seth, you've got some hail information. I'm going to have you over at the quad, and if you could just give us a little update on the hail core. There may be some big hail from this here, so Seth's going to get that for us in a second. Not seeing anything else really concerning besides this storm. There is going to be some storms coming towards Effingham. Severe thunderstorm warning for Fayette County down there. That will continue up I-70. The concern now with this tornado warning in Christian County, which we will watch closely. This storm likely has some large hail, and it may very well have a tornado. Seth, let's talk quickly to you about the hail size, and then I want to go to Kevin after that. So Seth, tell us about some of the large hail with this storm.
Yeah, I've been kind of clicking around here doing the best I can with the radar. It's right now telling us right around 2 inches. At one point, it looked like it was getting close to 2.5. This hail core, obviously north of the storm, and there's a lot of noise going on here on the screen. We've kind of drug it out here a little bit. This storm moving at 35 miles an hour, almost due east. And these are the kind of places you can expect that hail core. And I just saw a little bit of a tick up there, kind of that bright pink, so we might be talking about upwards of 2 inches here right now. The places here, the Taylorville High School, watching Stonington as well, in Prairieton. Within the next about 30, 45 minutes there, you can see on the timeline, that's when this big hail core is going to move on through. There's no current indication right.
Real quick, now this is a confirmed tornado warning, confirmed tornado with the storm in Christian County. National Weather Service just updated that. You see the pink box now, tornado ongoing near Kincaid. And I tell you what, that right there, west of Sharpsburg, signs of really some intense rotation there. Sharpsburg, the time is now to seek shelter. What I'd like to do is I'd like to triple box with Kevin, and then our sky cam on Decatur gives us a view of the storm from the north as this tornado now There's the debris signature. This is a healthy tornado now west of Sharpsburg, moving off to the east. Confirmed tornado. What we're looking at here is you see this circle. That is the tornado that has lofted debris into the air. It may be wrapped in the backside in rain. Kevin is looking at it now. Do we have Kevin by chance? Kevin, I know we can see your shot here. Tell us where you are and what you're seeing as this confirmed tornado now moves towards the Sharpsburg area.
Okay, I'm going to be just a few miles north of Taylorville. I'm going to be just southeast of Sharpsburg, and I am east of Kincaid, and we're looking into that storm here. You can kind of see a little bit of a shelf there, but on the left side is going to be kind of that wall cloud in there, and so we're trying to see if we can see anything right now. I'm trying to get in position here, but as you noted, a clear rotation signature showing up on this. It could be a little difficult to see, like you said, with the potential of it being kind of wrapped up in some of the rain, but it is a very intense signature showing up here. We're just kind of peeling around on the storm and seeing what we can see. We're right on this thing, though. We're going to be in a position here to see how this thing evolves, but we're smack dab in the middle of this storm as it's coming right at us here. So I'll send it to you for a second, and then I'm going to keep kind of getting in position. But we're gonna be right here. We're right in the middle of the tornado warned storm, and it's coming right at us.
Hey, Kevin, want to let you know real quick, the latest scan has just dived that pretty hard to the south and east. This may be coming a little closer to Taylorville, so be aware there's some deviant motion inside this storm. I think it might be taking more of a southeastward track, so just wanted to let you know based on that last scan. Kevin's going to be watching very closely. I would suggest that is a very strong tornado based on all indications here, moving to the south and east, now about 2 miles north of Kincaid. We'll keep Kevin's shot up. And Kevin, can you give me an exact crossroad by chance where you're at, or an approximate location?
I am 1250 East Road, 1250 East Road, and just east of 29. Just east of 29.
Okay, good. You're a little bit ahead of it there. This is going to be very close, about a mile and a half southwest of Sharpsburg, it appears. Right, well, mile west or so from there. The latest scan, not quite in on our system, but on my computer here I can see going to be very close or just south and west of Sharpsburg. It'll be crossing, this is close for Taylorville. I want to go ahead and up my concern for Taylorville, the north side. I know the north side of Taylorville, there's the Walmart, there's the Kroger, places like that. Really, I think at this point, a safe call is for Taylorville city limits. Go ahead and shelter for me here, as we're still a little unsure what this motion means. But a little bit of a southeast jog does concern me a bit here as we watch there. So kind of back this up real quick. Kevin's going to watch it. Kevin, if you see anything, let production know in the back. I want to know, Kevin will be on the top right screen here. On the bottom right is the storm itself. If we can keep an eye on that as well. Seth, you've been watching that. That's the supercell thunderstorm in the distance. Let's bring the camera full on Weathermetrics 3, the sky cam if we can for Decatur. I want to show you the backside of the storm. This is the Springfield camera, is that correct?
This is the Decatur camera.
This is Decatur looking to the south. A healthy, mature supercell storm in place. All right, I just got a message. My parents are on this storm. They're reporting a large tornado north of Kincaid at this point, and I'm hoping to get a picture from them. Let me just send a message to the National Weather Service.
And Jacob, adding to your point, I would have to agree. This one is definitely taking a little bit of a southern dive, and the kind of the north side of Taylorville is definitely going to be a place to watch here in the next couple minutes. Just
yeah, that's right.
On a quick little loop, and it certainly looks like it's going to, at the very least, kind of graze the north part of town there.
It'd be close, and I just think the safe thing to do here at this point is to all we can watch that. Let's go ahead and bring my camera full here real quick. The triple box is great. I'd love to keep that up so we can also keep eyes on Kevin. What now is a large tornado about 3 miles north of 3 miles northwest of Taylorville, northeast of Kincaid. This is a look at the circulation. It's about to cross 29, about 2 miles north of Taylorville here. A large tornado in progress. We've got eyes on it. I'm waiting to see a picture of it here and see if we've got it. Don't have a picture yet. but I know my parents are there. They're in the Kincaid area and saw the tornado and have passed that along. It seems like maybe here that track kind of pulling south a little bit, but wrapping through Taylorville and Stonington, and folks that are in between there. Eventually, if you got the creek or the lake there that goes northeast of Taylorville, that's where we're going to watch. I believe it's Wiley's is the other place where we will keep an eye on that, and so that certainly is something that we want to monitor closely. Seth, I want to go ahead and have you take over a little bit on the quad. I want to check some photos and reports here of this. So if you can just kind of jump on the quad, talk about where this is heading, that'd be helpful. Absolutely. And we'll keep that triple box up. Now a large tornado in progress in Christian County, about halfway between Edinburgh and Taylorville near Sharpsburg. Seth, take it away.
Yeah, so this is obviously a dangerous storm right now. Anyone in the path of this needs to start seeking shelter immediately. We mentioned kind of taking a little bit of a southern dive here. We just kind of got the last 15 minutes on a loop. Still has pretty good eastern extent. I think this is going to stay just a little bit north of town there. But if you're in Taylorville, take shelter now. The storm's going to be way too close for comfort there. That's going to cross over 48 here within the next couple of minutes as well. Also just watching places like Stonington. This might go just to your south here a little bit. As I said a second ago, way too close here for comfort. And we're watching, again, the pink box, confirmed tornado. I've seen a little bit out there. I've been watching on the social media. It definitely looks like there's something in there. Kind of rain-wrapped views is all I've been getting so far. Jacob, you've got a picture over there now.
Yeah, we got a picture now. This is of the tornado as it was to the north and east of Pawnee. So this tornado's been on the ground for a little while here. That is it. That large tornado that's been spotted and is moving to the east now. That's going to be very close to Taylorville. Sharpsburg in particular, worried about that. There will likely be some damage in that area from this, and so we'll continue to watch with that. So there's the tornado. It's clear to us now that there's a large tornado in Christian County. Seth, if you can get ready, perhaps some of the tips for where people should shelter. Yes. I think that's appropriate at this time. We are calling for folks in northern Christian County now to be in shelter at this point. This will include Sharpsburg. Time is out. It's near or just south of town. Very close call for that. Taylorville, we're going to have you included at this point. Wiley's, I think, is next. This may stay just north of Taylorville. This same area actually had a tornado right north of Taylorville back on June 29th when the derecho came through. It's moving right through those same areas, so Wiley's, Stonington, eventually to the east. Later on, heads up for Mowequa and Assumption, so that's a concern. I do believe this has crossed Illinois 29 now and has moved off to the east. Kincaid, I'll give you an all clear. Tovey, Sandcrest Lake, I'll give you an all clear. This still Sharpsburg, Taylorville east is where the concern is right now. I see Kevin has stopped. I don't know if we have him, but we don't see much. What I'll do, Seth, is go ahead and tell us some of these safety tips that you've got, and then we will come back and keep watching this progress here.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're anywhere in this tornado warning right now or even around it, you definitely want to be making these safety precautions right now. You need to proceed to your safe place. That could be, for example, if you have a basement, that is the ideal place to be. If you do not have any kind of underground level, the best place to be is the most interior part of your house, away from any windows there. If you have a bathtub in the middle part of your house, that would be an ideal place to go there. Mobile homes, you need to get out of there. If you have time, you cannot be in a mobile home as a tornado passes on through. It will be able to just wipe it away there and just push anything out of its way. If you're in a vehicle, again, you don't want to be out there on the roads right now. You want to get to a safe space away from this storm. In addition to that, once you're inside your house, you need to get in, you need to get down to your lowest level, and you need to cover up as well. Pillows are a good thing to put on you. If you have a helmet, that's also an ideal thing there to be wearing in case any kind of debris starts to come on into the building there. You're going to stay down there until you're all clear as well. Now, if there's also going to be plenty of power outages around the storm as well. The good thing is we're also over there on the streaming platforms there, our Facebook, our Twitter, even on the website, WCI.com/weather/severe. Got a live stream of that. So if you don't have power, you can still stay up to date on the ongoing storm that is here right now in the northern Christian County area. So that's all the safety precautions you need to take. If you get all this checked off your list there, you've done everything that you can to protect yourself from the storm. Jacob, do we have any kind of new updates with it?
Yeah, I'm kind of checking the chat and seeing some information on things. Some folks are in the Christian County area, and they're saying sirens are going off. That's great. Remember that the sirens are one way to get information, but we really encourage multiple ways to get information. Download our WCIA3 weather app. If a situation like this comes your direction, we'll give you a push alert when a tornado warning is issued. That's the case now in Christian County. This tornado warning is now for right north of Taylorville, moving off to the east, and I'll bring back the photo that we had up from this. This is from a chaser I know. He sent it to us. That, again, the confirmed tornado as it was closer to Pawnee, crossing the Sandcrest Lake area. area. A little concerned about Sandcrest Lake and any damage in that area. I know News is listening, and so if News, you're hearing us, if we can make some calls. I've just texted the Springfield Bureau as well to follow up on those areas, so we will watch things very closely with that.
You also have a tornado warning in eastern Fayette County along I-70 heading to Effingham County right now.
Well, we're going to have 2 storms here, so we'll divvy up things in. Seth, I'll let you take that because that's down to your...
Correct. That is back down there towards Effingham.
So that's kind of going to be east of Vandalia. Does not include Effingham County, but there it looks like what they're seeing here is, you know, something, and I'm thinking here, I probably need to switch radar. That's going to be a St. Louis radar, isn't it?
It's going to be difficult to tell with this one because it's pretty far away from any local radar there. The St. Louis one's probably our best bet, but even it kind of...
There it is. That's right on the interstate there, I-70 at Odigo.
I-70, kind of the St. Mo area on its way into Altamont, the county fairgrounds out that direction, of course. So, yeah, 2 tornado warning storms to watch here right now. It is extremely hard here to make out much detail on this one just because of its distance from the radar, but there is enough of an indication with rotation aloft that they have kind of pulled the trigger here on the tornado warning. And again, this is heading into the Effingham County area here, eventually exiting on I-70 in Fayette County here at the moment. Places like Altamont, kind of south of Effingham there, places like Funkhauser, Watson, we'll start to be watching that here. The benefit of this is the southwest part of Effingham County isn't greatly populated, but if you are out in that direction, definitely a time to seek shelter here with this one. No confirmation. That's why it's a red box here, but you cannot take anything. You can't be too safe with this. Definitely need to make sure that you are ready to go there for that one.
That's right. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can talk to Kevin. He's on that storm. This tornado now going to be about 2 miles north of Taylorville, moving to these pretty quickly. Wiley's. It's going to be heading towards Stonington. It'll be heading towards, let's see, the May Township area. That's going to be kind of that little river area on the northeast side, extended from Lake Taylorville. Kevin, it appears on our end to be rain wrapped, and I think you're really close to it. Go ahead and tell us what you're seeing and where you're at.
Yep. It's absolutely rain wrapped. You can just see curtains of rain. I'm trying to, again, get back out ahead of this here. I'm going to be on the northeast side of Taylorville right now, and so I'm actually traveling south right now. I'm going to be coming up here to 48 here in just a moment. But we watched the storm pass right by us, and it was rain wrapped. Definitely a tornado in there. It was tough to pick it out. Extremely dark skies and whatnot, but we are just kind of coming here to Taylorville. I'm going to kind of reposition, and I'll have just a little bit.
All right, Kevin's going to come and go. I've been down there before, and it's tough chasing in there, but he's going to be watching that storm. Kevin, we kind of lost you for a second. I see you're moving now. You said you're moving to the east and north a little bit. Is that right?
I am actually going southwest right now, coming into Taylorville, right along 48. Yeah, right here on the northeast side of town. You can just see. Here we go. Just look at these rain bands. Look at you can see the winds here. They are really, really cranking right now.
Yeah, there's likely going to be some damaging wind coming into the north side of Taylorville. I know where that's at. You're on that northeast side there. Kevin, just so you know, with the river that's out there, the creek, your best bet might end up being to blast east from Taylorville when you drop south a little bit on the Lincoln Trail Road. That'll kind of get you through that. There's some gaps in there, and I'm afraid if you go further north towards Wiley's, you're not going to get across, and that tornado is going to be on top of you, as it's now right between Taylorville and Wiley's at this point. So if you turn to the north there, you might see it in the back camera, but I know you're going to sneak into town and kind of get ahead of this storm. So, Kevin, thanks for your report. If you see anything, let us. There we go. There's the looking behind. It's rain wrapped. Perhaps the only way you would see this tornado is if you're on the north side, north and west side. Got to give Wiley's. We got to get you to shelter here at this point. If you were close to where the tornado came on June 29th, that's where this is heading here. There was I think it was an EF1 tornado that came through the north side of Taylorville. That is heading this way as well. and is going to be very close to that track at this point. Likely it's been on the ground for a while. There's the hook. That's going to be a problem. Wiley's, Stonington, this should be just far enough south, but if you're in Stonington, go ahead and shelter for me just in case this thing wraps back up to the north. I want to mention also the hail. There's going to be some big hail in Mount Auburn and Stonington, and eventually up to the north and east as we head into parts of southern Macon County. That's going to be Blue Mound, perhaps. Looks like Mount Auburn's a little far north, but in that area between Mount Auburn and Taylorville, you cut across there from Stonington and Blue Mound, a lot of rural real estate. But there's folks that live out there. Probably some big hail to report in that area with the particular storm moving on through. Seth, I just want to check. You got anything on any of the other storms here?
Yeah, I'm still watching that one that's in Fayette County here at the moment. I did just see they added a severe thunderstorm warning to the west side of it, and in my opinion, I know it's a high kind of radar beam angle there, but there is some developing rotation right around the Vandalia area right now. So there's kind of two different cores here to the storm, so to speak. I think the one that's under the tornado warning is probably the less of the two to worry about, just from what I can tell, but there is a little bit of development there just south of Vandalia. And again, this is high level rotation there. I'm going to go ahead and flip things to the Effingham camera. I did kind of point things out that direction. It's kind of hard to make out what's going on. You can see plenty of rain blocking it there, but you can kind of see that tail flowing in there, those clouds off to the left side of the screen there. Something that we are going to watch. This is the closest camera we have to that. I don't have any kind of reports on that here at the moment, but I do, of course, have plenty of friends and family down that direction, and we'll be asking them if they can let us know anything that's going on. This one, again, just warned for tornado potential. Nothing confirmed just yet, though, with this one.
Yeah, so I'm just seeing more reports. It looks like this tornado was near Sandcrest Lake and moving off to the east. So there's going to be some concern of damage in the Sandcrest Lake area. And the tornado continues to move to the east. It's still down. It is still down now, right over Wiley's as it moves off to the south and east. So I'm kind of watching to see if we've got anyone we know out there as well. It's wrapped in rain. That's the hard thing. And I know that's not very friendly territory for chasing here with this particular storm. Let's talk about where this tornado is. Now it's crossing Illinois 48 on the ground between Taylorville and Wiley's. It's going to be moving into a populated area here right now. In fact, it's on northeast Taylorville there. If you're familiar, this right here is the creek. Continues up. A lot of homes on there. Concerned that there will be some damage from a confirmed tornado there. If you know anyone in Taylorville, Eastern Christian County, let them know. Send them a text. Be a part of our messaging and say, hey, Channel 3 is on it. They've got a chaser on it, and we're watching things here. Speaking of chaser, let's go ahead and bring Kevin Full. It looks like he's maybe creeping a little to the north and east. Kevin, where are you at? What are you seeing?
Yeah, this thing is, it's pretty intense here. We're just on the south side of it here. We're really getting hit by some winds right now. I can see the sheets of rain that are just blowing. Quite a bit of wind with this. Power lines are moving pretty good. I'm looking off here to the east, essentially. I've got police behind me as they're coming through. Boy, we're really getting rocked here right now. We've got a really good storm.
Yeah, Kevin, that tornado crossed very close to 1550 North Road in Illinois 48. That's about a mile north there. It was just north of that, and it's going to be now moving to the east. Looks like it's now crossed 48, going to be at 1550 North and 1600 East Road, and going to move through some of that. At this point, Kevin, it might be safest to sneak south to the Lincoln Trails and kind of sneak east of town to get over that little river there. This is a tornado, folks, a damaging tornado now, about a mile south of Wiley's, moving through some people. People live there, and we are here to bring them coverage. There will be damage in Taylorville on the northeast side before long, and I know Taylorville got hit a month and a half ago or so. They got hit, of course, really hard a few years ago, and we're thinking with Taylorville at this point, Taylorville proper, downtown Taylorville, you live in city limits, you are clear. We have passed the storm. There is still a lot of wind. There's still going to be heavy rain with that, but the tornado is now just to the east of 48, northeast of town. I can give you that all clear from the tornado threat. Still might be some wind that's a concern. I'm going to kind of zoom out. I just want to watch everything here. Do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for a storm that's in Montgomery County. That's over Raymond. They're heading towards Nokomis. That could be a Shelby County problem in the next 30 minutes. Some signs of rotation with that, although not obvious to us at this point. This is the game here, folks. This is the storm to watch as we continue to have a tornado moving to the east, moving closer and closer to Assumption and those areas. And it is rain wrapped by all things we can tell here with that. Just kind of checking some of the info. Again, you see these bright reds here, these bright greens. That's called a velocity couplet. Green means wind blowing towards the radar, red away. Well, there's your circulation right here, and it's very tight, an indication that a tornado is ongoing at this time. As we check the debris signature, here's our debris signature now as it's moving through some of those populated areas. A little messy to the north, but that boundary is wrapped in and is clear as day right there as this confirmed tornado now continues to move through Christian County. Let's talk downstream here. US 51, Assumption. We were just in Assumption on Friday. We got a lot of friends down there. This will be very close to Assumption as well as Moweaqua, moving in that direction soon. No tornado warning yet, but if you're in Assumption, you're in Moweaqua, you know someone there, I'd be considering texting them, give them a heads up and say, hey, Channel 3's got your back. We're watching with you. And then after that, it will carry into northern Shelby County. You got Yanisville here, little mini community. You got Findlay here. Shelbyville sits here. This should stay north of Shelbyville. Shelbyville Lake Shelbyville. If you've got folks who are camping out there, at least it's a Sunday night, a lot of times camping winds down. This storm is heading in that direction. If there's someone still doing some long camping, they're keeping up on things, might be worth letting them know as well. The concern now growing for Shelby County and the Lake Shelbyville area as the storm continues to be producing a tornado from what we can tell here. Let's bring that triple box back. That way we can keep an eye on it. At this point, Seth, also, from a camera perspective, the next one we've got, say again? Who's got hail?
I'm not hearing anything on mine.
Talk to Seth if you can. Kevin has hail. Kevin has hail. Okay, Kevin. Yeah, okay, let's go to Kevin then. Kevin, what do you got? Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, starting to get some hail here. Again, these just real heavy bands of rain and the wind really kicking up here. I'll hear every once in a while a crack of a hailstone hitting the storm tracker. But look at this. I can barely see in front of me. The rain is coming down so hard. The wind is blowing it as well. You can see emergency lights here up ahead. You can't even see. The wind is blowing so much, and these sheets of rain are blowing through. Again, I am northeast of Taylorville and just kind of creeping up and seeing what we can see, but we are still in the thick of it here. We're on 48, and this storm is very powerful. It's got some really strong winds. Even without the tornado signature, the winds within it are pretty strong there as well, if you look at that. But we're just creeping up here on 48, and looks like the rotation is going to be to our east. But man, it is still quite intense out here in the storm tracker right now.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. Kevin, I have a feeling, based on radar, there's going to be some damage in that river area, that subdivision, about 1.5 miles to your east. The tornado's still ongoing at this point. It's going to be probably close to the May Township building area. And some landscape rock, kind of in that region, maybe south of Tanner Cemetery. Somewhere in there, there's going to be some probably debris of some sort from this tornado that has passed on through. As we watch here, this storm, there's some maybe good news, I would say. You notice how messy it's getting here to the south? That circulation is wrapped up in there. Sometimes what can happen is as these lift to the north, and I'll show you here in the loop, that may help disrupt the circulation. Whether it happens in time enough for Assumption and Moweaqua, not sure, but I really think this is heading very close to Assumption. This red circle right here is our tornado, very much wrapped in rain, not something that you're going to be able to see as we move on through. Again, watching right now, 6:54, live coverage of a tornado that has struck Christian County. On the top right corner of your screen, you see Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the storm tracker. The bottom right is our sky cam, and I believe that's Decatur. We might want to switch that perhaps, Seth. I'm not sure what you think. And you're still watching that Effingham County, or the storm heading towards Effingham County. Do you want to take over that for a second?
Yes, let's bring that up, and I'll get my Effingham cam pulled up on there. I can't really see too much action going on from. I'll get that pulled up on my Mac's computer here real quick. I'm not seeing too much from Effingham here at the moment. And in fact, I think this storm in general is just kind of starting to train on itself a little bit. We'll put up the radar image there and take a look. It is right over kind of the Vandalia area right now, or at least the core of the west end of this one. Again, the tornado warning's kind of downstream of this. I think the new spot to worry about is going to be just east of Vandalia there, going up the road on I-70, kind of heading towards places like Otago and towards the St. Elmo area. And this one's just moving awfully slow. We're going to flip to velocity here real quick, and this is a very high angle beam there from the radar. This is all the way out from St. Louis, so we're plenty high in the sky here, but you can see two different areas of interest there on rotation. I'll get up my little pointer and just make sure you can see them there. Kind of that one north of Lone Grove, kind of just got general broad rotation up here, southwest of St. Elmo as well. But I'm really watching this one kind of just east of town there in Vandalia. There is a little bit of a strengthening couplet that direction. It's kind of started to plateau as far as its strength is gone, but it's still something to really keep an eye on. And one more thing I'll bring up here with this is the hail core on the west end of this thing. Let me bring up that image here real quick. And we are starting to also see hail in this one approaching 2 inches in diameter there. We'll just drop a marker right east of Vandalia. You're seeing hail, yeah, 1.5 inches in diameter there. So this one, a strong storm, not as strong as the one that we're watching over there in Christian County right now, but there's some good hail with this one. There's some rotation, and this one definitely has some more time that we're going to need to watch it on here as we continue to move forward.
Yeah, so we got the tornado watch for a lot of our area that goes until 10 o'clock, and a lot of these storms moving through that. First off, southern Christian County has been added to that severe thunderstorm warning. It has what's called a tornado possible tag. That's the storm that'll be close to the Nokomis area soon. It'll be heading towards perhaps Pana eventually. That means that there's some weak rotation, not immediately obvious, but still something that's worth watching. We've got our confirmed 20. It's still down. It is still down, moving east from Taylorville now, according to radar. And we've had multiple reports from spotters of that. Then Fayette County watching that storm. I know we got some folks that are, Champaign-Urbana, Danville, looking fine. Here's some rain moving on through. It seems like the bulk of the activity is going to carry from Decatur south, perhaps Tuscola south, Effingham, Mattoon, Charleston, Shelbyville, Sullivan, next major towns, the next county seats and whatnot that are in the path of this as we continue to watch. I want to keep that triple box up. I'm going to keep as much eyes with Kevin as we can, and then the sky cam south. I'll let you pick what we're looking at. I think on that triple box now, that's Weathermetrics 3. What do we have on that one?
I will put up the Effingham one here at the moment. I'm going to see if I can get anything good on that Decatur one still,
okay,
if we're just kind of completely blocked out.
And eventually that Mattoon one does face west. It's too far away, but that's correct. Something that is going to be worth watching. All right, new tornado warning just extended from our confirmed tornado. This is going to be including areas between Assumption and Moweaqua and parts of northern Shelby County. If you live in Assumption, I think you should go ahead and shelter. If you live in Moweaqua, I'd go ahead and shelter. We got this confirmed tornado that's been on the ground through most of the county here. And we first had that report towards Kincaid. Let me just measure the distance that we had for this tornado. We're talking, it could be on the ground for 20 miles potentially. Just a rough estimate there. National Weather Service will probably be out tomorrow surveying, and I know we're going to have some damage that comes in from this as we move on through. Let me talk here. Ooh, wow. Got some 2-inch hail 5 miles north of Taylorville on Mount Auburn Blacktop at 6:45 p.m. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to grab that here. And so we've got this storm has had some large hail. I don't think the hail looks as large, does it, Seth?
No, not
It's come down
quite.
A bit.
Yeah.
But at one point, there was some pretty big hail.
It was. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of got close to 2.5 or 3 inches there at one point. I just kind of saw some white in there when we were kind of looking at the
Yeah. All right, so this is the circulation. This was at 6:55. We get scans every couple of minutes here, and you'll notice in the last couple of scans over the last 4 or 5 minutes, it appears that the circulation has started to broaden. We no longer have those tight colors close together. They are still there, though. Those colors, this red's showing a lot of winds wrapping in the backside. You've got your greens. So while right at this point, the tornado may have finally lifted, it still is a threat where between Moweaqua and Assumption on 51, where the storm is heading, it would still be on guard for that. Looking a little further to the south, some signs of wind increasing southeast of Taylorville. We'll watch that as well. No warning there. We've got that confirmed tornado warning still in Christian and now into northern Shelby County. Here's another interesting thing, and I tend to think, Seth, this is a radar artifact. this here, that little velocity showing near Shelbyville, I think that's what we call a left split storm. I think that's moving more north. That doesn't seem to me to be a tornadic problem.
Correct.
At this point.
That's typically the way those left splits work too.
Yeah.
They're the weaker of the two and don't quite last quite as long or look as impressive.
Yeah, a little bit of a little science for you, I suppose. Those left hooks off, or those left movers, a lot of times they can turn into hail producers. That might be something to watch as we're keeping an eye on the Shelbyville area and points to the north and east, but it doesn't look all that strong. We'll watch it. I don't really have a concern for tornado with that storm at this time. Want to just kind of check around real quick here. And Seth, I don't know if you've seen anything on social media either, or any National Weather Service reports that have come on through.
I've got my post out there just asking some Effingham people. I haven't had anything from that yet. Nothing urgent from the National Weather Service that I don't think you've already mentioned. Looks like there's a video of the storm from Kincaid, but other than that, that's kind of been the one that we've been watching here for a little bit. I'm not seeing anything terribly new here, and I'm not really seeing too much of a change in what's going on there around Fayette and Effingham counties as well. That storm almost going to be more of a hail threat and kind of just a flash flood threat in that direction. I feel like it's barely moved there since we brought it up, but still got that tornado warning on it, still has that rotation aloft, something that we'll continue to monitor down that direction. In general, though, it kind of looks like we're starting to have these storms kind of run into each other now that you got the rain into that tornado now.
Let's pull Kevin's feet up. I know it's stopped, but I'm going to pull it up just to get it's frozen. I want to see what he's got there. He's really having trouble with that right now. That's a tree down in the road in front of him. Are we able to talk to Kevin at all, or is the feed too bad? Kevin, can you hear us all? Looks like we're not having any luck here, but he's got damage now that's on that northeast side of town. Maybe, okay. Here he is. Okay, take Kevin now if we can. Kevin, what do you got? All right, we're having trouble with Kevin there. That's okay. He is looking at damage, though, now northeast of Taylorville. Some trees down on the road from this tornado that went on through. And I tell you what, Seth, seeing some of the pictures, this was a sizable tornado. Yeah,
this was something to, definitely not have messed around with. This isn't just some tornado that you kind of pick up, put the warning on. This was a pretty decent looking one. And it, from Kevin's image there, kind of looks like we're starting to see the after effects of what that tornado has been able to do. So if you're still in the path of that, although it's kind of getting rain wrapped, now more so than ever, get to shelter, because if you can't see that thing coming, it's going to do its thing without you even knowing.
And I look in the background, you can barely make it out. I can't tell if those are trees that are torn up there. Can you kind of see, there's a power line down as well.
Yeah, power line down. It kind of looks like there's something ragged in the background too. Obviously that branch there.
So there's been clearly some damage in that area, and so we're going to watch Kevin's shot pretty close here. We'll see if we can get any information from him. Kevin, are you able to hear us at all? Hello, Kevin. Kevin, tell us what you got.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Hey, guys. So found a little bit of damage here. Obviously, there's a tree down, power line down here. I'm going to be just a...
All right.
Let's see here. What am I on? I am on 1600, actually 1550 East North Road. I just turned on to the road just south of Wiley's there. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get across here or not, but I think there might be more damage just up ahead. So I'm going to try to maneuver around this, but you can see in the middle of the... I'm going to try to get on the other side of this because I think there's more damage here just to my north.
Yeah, Kevin.
I'm also getting some hail right now as well.
Not surprised about that. Still some hail with that storm there
right now.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Kevin, I want to let you know, if you can get back to 48, you can cut up to Wiley's and then drop south on 1600 East Road. That might be a way to get up there as well. So that could be an option if you're not able to get through. And then you kind of are stuck winding through that little creek area there. So kind of we'll see what you can get from us, and we'll keep an eye on it. Again, his signal's bad. That part of the area, you got trees. The cell service, not the greatest for us, but we will get what we can from him as this moves on through. Tornado warning continues for eastern Christian County, now northern Shelby County. Our area of rotation is fully wrapped up in rain. Assumption and Moweaqua, go ahead and take your shelters. Yanisville area, shelter as well. If you're watching us in Shelbyville, watching us in Tower Hill, Windsor, Findlay, you're okay now. Our next in line for this storm is Finley and Lake Shelbyville, the Shelbyville Lake area, and that is a concern with this here. As we drop a little further to the south, some growing concern for tornado potential in southern Christian County and northern Montgomery County, perhaps Nokomis, eventually Pana, south of Morrisonville. That might be an issue for us here as we watch further things happen down there. I think we'll keep an eye on that. Then we've got the Fayette County, and Seth, you've been watching that. This might be an Effingham County problem here pretty quick. Any thoughts on what we're seeing down there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the best angle of this because the St. Louis radar and the Lincoln radar are kind of, you know, I think the St. Louis one is the closer of the two. But right now, the rotation aloft kind of looking a little flatter than what it once did. Obviously, some bright colors on there now, though, is what we're starting to see. They do just have the tornado warning still for the eastern portion, excuse me, of Fayette County. And we're kind of watching. I've got people in southwestern Effingham County, kind of where the front edge of that storm is. So far, just kind of reports of wind picking up, a little bit of rain out there right now, so nothing too crazy going on at the moment. But this is a slow-moving storm. This thing is just crawling to the east, so flash flooding is going to be a concern here with this one. And it looks like this one's just kind of been straight east so far with the rotation, so not too concerned about this heading up towards the Altamont area or towards Effingham. Kind of just looking at some of these rural towns like the kind of Mason and Edgewood area is where we might see this one end up here in the next several minutes.
And if you can actually do me a kindness, update the tornado watch for everyone as well. I've just got some video.
I want to get that pulled up there. I just got something on my watch that buzzed about the tornado watch. So let's take a look. They're starting to peel back on, it looks like, the areas that have already seen some of the tornadic activity. So Cass and Morgan County now off the board. We'll probably gradually see this as we go throughout the night. But obviously right now with the tornadoes kind of hanging around in Christian County, still seeing them in Fayette on its way to Effingham, I wouldn't be too shocked to see this watch hold up there until the 10 p.m. deadline there, as it just looks like there's too much activity going on. But Cass and Morgan now officially off the board. And I have to think at this point as well that there's some places on the west side of this line of storms that we've been tracking that probably just don't have much of a threat there left anymore, aside from just an occasional storm popping up. We're going to put back up the radar image here real quick. And you got something there, Jacob?
Yeah, go ahead and pull Max 2 full if we can. I'm going to show you this video I just got. This is the tornado in rural Stonington. That is it right there. Clear as day. Why we are bringing continuing coverage. Thanks to Ashley for sending that. This is in rural Stonington, was the tornado that has moved through that area. And I'll loop it again for you. That's a nice stovepipe-looking tornado. There is going to be damage in the area from this storm as it continues. You know, we thought maybe in that area it was going to be something where only further north would be the problem for us. Or let me rephrase that. Further north, we would see things. You'd have to be on the north side, and that's the case here. If you look at that, I'll loop it one last time. It looks like it's moving slightly from right to left, so she's looking to the south and west at this tornado. When Kevin was on the south side, wasn't able to see that there, and so that's a video that I wanted to share why we are bringing you this coverage in the area. Seth, if I can hand it to you for a second, just kind of talk us through on Max 1, area-wide. Let's talk about all these storms, these confirmed tornadoes, and the damage reports that'll be trickling on in. Let me just update real quick. I got a message from our Springfield Bureau So at this point in Taylorville proper, there is not any reports of damage, just hail and heavy rain. That's from Chief Wheeler in Taylorville. Be the rural areas that are out there perhaps that are having some of those issues. So I wanted to just relay that along. Seth, go ahead and take over a little bit and talk us what you're seeing.
Yeah, we're just going to kind of take an overview here of the area. We'll go from north to south. Obviously, the big one that we've been talking about there, a pretty sizable tornado at one point. Up now in parts of northern Shelbyville is where that one's heading, still kind of in the east Christian County area there, kind of moving right over Assumption. And we've kind of lost the ability to tell exactly where the tornado is. You can kind of still see that little kind of indent there. Again, it's going to be pretty rain-wrapped here at the moment. Keeping an eye on that. So move on down to the south. Anywhere you see these severe thunderstorm warning boxes that kind of have the orange outline around them, that's when we have the tornado possible tag on them. So we're watching that here as this one begins to move on into eastern Montgomery County and maybe parts of western Shelby here before too long. Obviously parts of southern Christian County. Looking at this one, it's had the considerable tag here for just a little bit. Let's flip it over to velocity and just kind of take a look and see what's going on in there. There's been some pretty broad rotation aloft on that one. Nothing's looked too impressive so far here in the last couple of scans, but another area of interest to watch. We're going to flip back over here to our reflectivity image here and look down to the south. This one now does have a severe thunderstorm warning for Effingham County, and that one again has the kind of reddish orange outline around it. That is also the tornado possible tag to it, and I will put velocity up on that one as well, because this one's definitely been kind of up and down as far as what it looks like. Still looks kind of flat up there on velocity. If it's flat aloft, it's certainly going to be flat there at the ground, but still something to monitor. It looks like we've got a new video in. Jacob, where are we looking at?
Yeah, this came from my friend Shay. He's from Pana. This is going to be of that tornado earlier northwest. Notice at the bottom you see those flashes. That's the tornado causing damage to the infrastructure. It's maybe a little hard to see. Bring it full there and you can see it a little better. Wrapped up in rain. That is a sizable tornado now that has done damage, and I believe he said he was in closer to Kincaid. Those flashes there, signs of damage happening to the electrical infrastructure. What happens is as those power lines are hit, fuses blow and it protects the infrastructure further down, and we get those bright blue flashes. That's a big tornado there from earlier, and so we are likely getting some reports of damage here before long. There's a lot of rain in that area, so it may take some time, but I know that there's going to be damage from the San Cruz Lake area to the east, north of Kincaid, close to Sharpsburg, and then eventually to the north and east side of Taylorville, and some of the rural areas south of Stonington as this tornado continued off to the east. So I wanted to give you that video as well. I know some folks are saying, hey, I want to be on my shows. I would love to watch shows too, but at this point it is a life-threatening situation for folks in Christian, northern Shelby County. It is a dangerous situation for other areas, and so we are going to continue our coverage here as we've had a pretty significant situation evolve in Christian County here tonight. Let's reset here. I want to talk first off, this thing is entirely wrapped up in rain. You look at reflectivity and it's just a bucket of spilt paint. What we look for, though, is our velocity. And at this point, there may be a new tornado very close to the north side of Assumption, very close to Assumption, right there at the old, US 51 used to come through Assumption where they started the bypass around to the north side. That's going to be where that tornado is moving off to the east. I think that's going to be a new tornado here that's developing. Look at all the strong wind as well, those bright colors. The surge of wind here now on the south side of Assumption, likely going to be some problems in Assumption and points to the east at this point. And I would say if you're in Christian County, west of US 51, I'll give you the all clear for the tornado. You're close to the east side there, Assumption, you're still going to have a lot of strong wind from this storm as it moves off to the east. And I'll be interested to see how things evolve further down the line. Next in line, Pana, along US 51 between Assumption and Pana. There's going to be some strong wind that works its way on through that region with this new developing tornado now very close to Assumption in central, northern and northeastern Christian County here in central Illinois. I want to kind of adjust things a little bit, Seth. I'm going to switch to my other radar product, and I'm going to just analyze here real fast.
I'll tell you what, Jacob, there's a little bit of that rain. We kind of talked about that left split earlier in Shelby County. It kind of looks like that's on a course for where that tornado-warned storm is, so maybe a little bit of extra complication coming here soon, as that rain probably going to be intercepted by that and probably going to make things even harder to see there based on reflectivity alone.
It might be. And I tell you what, the other thing I'm looking at this little feature in the south side of Assumption. The boundary is right here. It wouldn't surprise me to have a lot of strong wind, but that is an interesting feature now. And as soon as it's there, it looks like it's gone. This is the sign of strong wind now coming towards Pana, eventually Tower Hill. Our tornado is right here now east of Assumption by about a mile. I know you can take the Assumption Fenley Blacktop. That's where this is. It's moving east on that, and we'll move a little more south and east. There will probably be a new tornado warning coming out that will include more of central Shelby County based on where this is. That may be closer to Shelbyville. Fenley, next in line. Looks like Shelbyville, the lake area, going to be an issue. And so probably going to be something else. Let's just check correlation coefficient or debris tracker. I don't see any debris there, but there's certainly a suspicious signature that's in that area. Further down here, Effingham County, again, kind of high. You're keeping a close eye on that. That's your stomping grounds there, Seth. Southern Christian County, I would be interested in Pana to watch. The Nokomis area looks like something near Witt. But at this point, our main problem is now east of Assumption heading towards Fenley. That'll take the blacktop. I think that's the road you can go straight on. And if I'm correct here, from Assumption. You take that straight all the way to 121 to get to Solomon as a backup route. So that's kind of where we're looking at things here in the region. Let's get the radar back full here. And there we go. It's a mess out there right now. Polygons and storms that are in place. Confirmed tornado earlier in Christian County may have lifted. There may be a new tornado now in northern Shelby County, and we will watch and see what happens with that. Seth was mentioning these little cells here out front. Sometimes what can happen is they will merge into the storm and help it to enhance the rotation. That's what's happened in southern Sangamon County. There was a tornado southeast of New City, and that tornado continued through San Cristobal Lake off towards the Taylorville area and points to the south and east, as it now is a big problem east of Assumption, southeast of Mowequa. Christian County, for the Taylorville area, all clear. Sangamon County, all clear. Southern Christian County towards Pana, and then Shelby County is where we will watch next. In particular, that tornado warning for northern Shelby County will continue here for a while longer. Seth, if you can, I want to do a little bit of behind-the-scenes work here. I'd love to turn it over to you again to kind of walk us through those storms, update us, and then talk a little bit about Champaign-Urbana and those areas, because we got folks probably watching saying, you know, this isn't close to me. We got a large viewing area, but there's still, you know, areas that are under the severe threat and then areas that are not. So Seth, go ahead and take it away.
Yep, so we're just going to start with kind of a broad look here of the area. As you can see, a lot of this happening kind of south of 72. So places like Champaign, the Danville area, you know, you're watching this. There's not much going on here in your portion of the area. And to be honest, it really doesn't look like there will end up being much going on that direction. Never say never, but it kind of just looks like this concentration of storms is going to stay a little bit south. We were a little uncertain as to how far north this would go, but the bulk of the action here right now still within just kind of, like you said, that mess of polygons out here, kind of in Christian, Shelby County now, in parts of, even parts of eastern Montgomery County there as well. They still have a tornado possible tag on that one. That's now over the Nokomis area. But as we've been following here, we're going to pause the image and just kind of take a look at things. It is really hard to tell what's going on in there right now just based on reflectivity. But as we've been mentioning here within the last 15 or 20 minutes or so, we'll go ahead and pull up our velocity image here and just show you this is all of a sudden starting to become a little bit more of a wind threat as well. You can see just kind of in this general area, I'll get my pointer out here, this general area still seeing kind of that potential there for that confirmed tornado there on the ground, just kind of watching for new development there, but also parts just kind of south of Assumption on its way there to the Hinton area. We're watching for some pretty damaging winds there into that as well. Could be talking in excess of 60 miles an hour, perhaps up to 70 miles an hour there in some spots. We're going to watch this as it starts to move through Shelby County, looking like the bulk of the tornado threat's going to stay north of Shelbyville itself there, but definitely not ruling out some of that wind risk. And we got anything?
Yeah, let's go to Kevin real quick. Kevin's in the storm tracker now, and he's on scene of. He said again?
No audio.
We have no audio. Let's take a shot full so we can see where he's at. I know he's in the Christian County area. Looks like the fire department is there. We are probably going to hear from Kevin in a little bit. Things getting a little wet. Looks like he's taking a little rain in the inside of the windshield, but certainly looks like first responders just getting out to the scene of some of these storms that are continuing to cause issues in the Christian County area. So I saw that, Seth, and wanted to get that across we'll watch, and when we get a report from him, we will have an update on that. Just kind of checking if you've got any reports, any damage, anything like that, please let us know. We've got Kevin out there. I know that, let's see here. Just checking some other information. Nothing there. Okay, so we're still watching the circulation. That's good there. Let's go ahead and come back to me as we keep an eye here. So far, if there's anything, it's a lot of strong wind that's just blown through Assumption. I would be really interested to know about damage in the Assumption area from straight line wind. If there was a tornado, it would have been just north of town. It's not that tight, but as this continues to blow out here, sometimes you'll see that wind wrap around, and so that could be a problem for Findlay, Duval, Yantisville, and Henton moving forth. Tornado warning continues. 7:18 now. We've got that warning for a little while longer, and there probably are some 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds wrapping around there through the Assumption area, and so we'll keep updated on that. All right, we've got Kevin and audio from him. Kevin, I think you got a little water inside the windshield of your car from that blowing rain sideways there. We can see some new stuff coming in from though. What do I see on the story wall left there? Is that live right now? Is that Kevin's shot? Yeah, okay, go ahead. Kevin, can you hear us, Kevin? Talk about what you've got, what you're seeing.
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, so again, where I couldn't get across earlier, where there was that power line across the road, I went up and around, and so we're seeing some damage here. I think this is where a tornado did pass through. A lot of tree damage here, snapped off here. The home here itself looks okay, but it looks like the family out here assessing things. But it definitely passed right through this area here. There is a power line, actually a very large line that is down too, that maybe I can swing around and show it to you. But again, you can see the tops of the trees here snapped off. Pretty good indicator there that we probably had the tornado come right through here. Again, this is what we're looking at. We've got crews that are out here. I'm gonna see if I can swing this around and just bear with me here for a second as I try to kind of show you what's behind us here. And what we've got are emergency vehicles that are back here, and they've got this closed off because of a really large power line. So actually, hold on, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna swing around so we can get better view of this here. But this is definitely where we've had some damage that has occurred. Power lines down in this area, lots of trees down here as well. And so there is a better shot there. You can see that power line, that power pole that is down in this area. We're seeing a lot of damage like this. And so they're out here right now. They have this area blocked off, and they are keeping people obviously away so that they can try to clean this up. But obviously some damage here from what was most likely a tornado, and that is the view that you're getting right now with that power line that's down. And again, that line you can see kind of goes all along here, and there's another line that's down further down the road where I was showing you earlier. Lots of ponding on roads too, man. These county roads are just full of water. So again, we think that this is definitely where we had that tornado pass through, probably now 40 minutes ago or so. So that is the report here from right now. Again, few trees down here and there, snapped off the tops, and a lot of power lines down as well.
Kevin, have you been able to talk to anyone on scene about anything at all, or you have anything like that for us, perhaps? Not yet. They were just rolling up here when I actually got here, so they were just assessing things. So they were pretty new to the scene. So I'll try to get up here and ask some of the guys what they're seeing and if they've heard any other reports. But definitely, this power line is down across the road here, and they've got traffic obviously, and the roadway closed down as a result. But seeing a lot of emergency vehicles out here. You can see there's the fire department there from Stonington. And so that's what we're dealing with here right now, with damage from what most likely was the path of a tornado that came through here a little bit earlier. All right, thanks for your report, Kevin. Kevin, I'll also be very curious about damage that's further to the west. The tornado looked like it was pretty sizable towards the Kincaid area, San Cristobal Lake, and near Sharpsburg. So there's probably a trail of damage. Could be a little bit, could be 15, 20 miles perhaps, based on radar observations and whatnot. So keep us updated on that. And we will leave your shot up, Kevin, in case you are getting any information, things of that. So thanks so much, Kevin. Let us know if you've got anything else to report. All right, so we'll keep that. We've got the camera in Effingham also. Our concern right now still is primarily for Shelby County. Christian County as a whole is all clear. The rotation now south of Yanisville, going to cross Illinois 128 south and west of Findlay. Be crossing through the Shelbyville Lake area here soon. It's not as impressive, and I think what could happen is we could see this maybe continue to weaken, but a new severe thunderstorm warning likely to come. Got messages that Pana storm sirens are going off. That's the case. You hear the storm sirens. Okay, I don't need to get more information, things of that. So keep us updated on that. If you've got anything, we appreciate those messages and things of that. That is the storm that we've got. Let me put back on our reflectivity, and as we look at it here, it looks like a mess. It's hard to make out any details, but that leading edge is going to be where the wind is coming on through. There could be some strong winds in the Pana area as these storms continue. But perhaps most interested here in Nokomis, the tail end of the storm. That can be another place that is causing issues, and we will watch that. Eventually, that'll be Oconee and then Herrick and Cowden if that moves in that direction. And then for Effingham County, again, this part of the area, it's hard to see entirely what's happening, but really interested there south of Mason along the county line there, south of Effingham. It's not an Effingham County problem, but it is still a pretty sizable storm, and there may be some big hail in Mason and in Watson from that storm. As you see some of those pinks and purpley colors there, usually that's a sign of you start getting golf ball size with those types of measurements. We did earlier have a tennis ball size hail report up here north of Taylorville. There's been a lot of big hail from Taylorville to Stonington, and this storm continues off to the east. Kevin's now, it looks like that's the Stonington Fire Department that's out on scene of damage in Christian County. Our tornado warning now is centered in Shelby County and will continue to be there as we are watching things very closely. Just kind of checking some other information here. Let's see. Okay, so just checking that source of information. Haven't had anything new from there, but we know that there's a lot of damage in Christian County from this storm. Kevin's been on some of that and is going to probably reposition and move in a different direction from there. So, Seth, time now will reset 7:25. This tornado warning in Shelby County will continue for a little while longer. I believe it goes until 7:30. The rotation is there. It's not like it was. This is not a Christian County situation, but still, based on the structure of the storm, it could very easily wrap up and produce a tornado again here north of Shelbyville, moving through the Lake Shelbyville area. Probably between Shelbyville and Findlay would be the best guess here if it continues in that direction. Sometimes with these lines, though, you'll get a surge of wind here, and that then will cause more rotation and just down the line, and so we will watch that pretty closely as we move on through. I want to check also some power outage numbers real fast, see if we've got any here. It looks like in Christian County there's about 320 customers that are out of power, and I'll check the other information, see if we've got that. A lot of those outages are in the Sharpsburg, the Edinburgh area, I should say, and then some there to the northeast of Taylorville. The strongest damage by far, the strongest point of the tornado looks to be what it was between Kincaid, Bullpit, and Sharpsburg, coming off of the lake area. And so we will look for any information from those areas, and we might see if Kevin can sneak back that direction. I think it would have probably missed the campgrounds there at the San Chris Lake State Park. I think so. I think it was more through the southern part of the lake. There's still some rural areas and some rural access points that are out there, but there's a number of homes there. In fact, probably close to 1930 North Road. If Kevin can hear me, that's going to be 600 East, North 600 East Road, 1930 North Road. It's kind of at the South Fork of the Sangamon. If you're sneaking west from Sharpsburg, where the road tees, you go north. That might be a spot to look for some more damage straight west of Sharpsburg, north of Kincaid there, if he's still able to hear me. New severe thunderstorm warning now for Shelby and Moultrie counties. That's going to be for the storm, that surge of wind to the south and east. I tend to think they're probably leaning towards not an extension of the tornado warning at this point, but it is still something we have to watch with strong wind potential, and I won't rule out a tornado from that at any point, and so we will be keeping you covered and keeping you updated here for the next little bit. Seth, do you have any information to pass along? I
don't have anything currently. Now I know that this storm in Effingham County is about to pass over my my home down that direction, so we'll probably be ending up seeing some pretty impressive hail down that direction at some point, and you'll see if I can get any reports from that. But this storm has just kind of been the same way the whole time. It's just kind of had some broad rotation aloft, and the good thing is it looks like this thing is kind of just well south of the area. Not really anything here for our viewing area to worry about for much longer, as that looks to kind of pass more so into kind of the very southern edge of Jasper County there when it's all said and done. But a very slow mover, probably getting some pretty steady rain there into that one. But oh, there you go. There's a is that a considerable tag on that one now?
That red is either considerable. It might be the tornado possible tag.
Might be tornado possible. It is tornado possible. So still watching, you can kind of just see right in there that kind of broad rotation. Nothing has really jumped off the page yet, especially considering how high up into the air that this radar beam is looking at, but still enough going on to at least warrant watching it. And what's unfortunate is we're going to have to do our best to see this one with the St. Louis radar, because I believe the Evansville one is not operational here. So this one's starting to enter some territory where it's a bit of a radar hole and won't be very easy to see. But as I said, on the bright side, kind of just skimming by to the south here, but we'll keep watching that one and see where it goes.
Yeah, Getting some reports now from the Assumption area. Seth, we talked about that. There are trees and power lines down now in Assumption. There is damage in the city of Assumption. That would most likely be from the straight line winds. If there was a tornado, I tend to think it would have been just north of town. But if your house has tree damage and whatnot, that's a problem. We really, you know, who cares if it's a tornado or wind damage? You've got property damage and you've got cleanup here. So we're really thinking of Assumption at this point. So heads up to Kevin. There's some damage there. Also now some new information from emergency management in Sangamon County, 2 miles northeast of Pawnee. There is damage to a farmstead from a tornado. That would be kind of out in this area here between New City and Pawnee. I don't know if that's going to be the same tornado that continued to the east. There were some reports of a tornado in that area. The National Weather Service issued their tornado warning just east of there after some of those reports came on in. And I think a lot of the damage is going to be from the San Cristobal Lake area towards Sharpsburg and Kincaid. A lot of wind damage reported now in Assumption. And that's a concern with that particular storm that moves to the south and to the east. All right, here's what I'm going to do, Seth. I want to stay with us just a little longer just to make sure. But we've got no active tornado warnings. I am interested in the Tower Hill area. I'm also interested in the Henton area. This right here, that surge, snap of a finger, could easily pick on up. Then down here towards Tower Hill, a lot of strong straight line winds coming into Shelbyville through Tower Hill and along Illinois 16. A real beautiful landscape down there if you've ever been on 16 between Pana and Shelbyville. The storm in Montgomery County here, that's going to be southeast of Nokomis, also could be showing broad rotation, nothing imminent from it. That'd be an Oconee, Hanson, Cowden, Herrick issue. If so, less concerned about that. Greater concern here now for central Shelby County for, at a minimum, straight line winds, and those winds could be pretty impressive before all is said and done. And then the other thing is behind it. My eye caught a little feature there by Raymond. I think that's a radar artifact. I don't think that's actually something that's there. Boy, man, that's just southern Effingham County, probably getting some big hail. There's probably some big hail from Mason to Watson on US 45, and the rotation's pretty decent there northwest of Blair and north of the west of Mason perhaps in there, Seth. So we'll watch that closely. National Weather Service still saying with the tornado warning, the storm maybe is coming a little more outflow dominant, and I tend to agree with that here, kind of looking at some of these other things behind the scenes, but they are going to keep an eye on the potential for some spin-ups along that. And if most interesting, perhaps, I think there's going to be a lot of wind coming through Tower Hill and Shelbyville. I'm going to stay with this through Shelbyville. There's a lot of that wind there. You check the velocity. Now, this is a little higher up, but some of these radar pixels here suggesting 60-mile-an-hour wind plus possible with those storms coming on through. And so that's something that we'll continue to monitor here and move off to the east. Big picture here, think up in Champaign County, maybe we get a little bit of light rain coming, but nothing significant. A little bit of shower activity now in the I-72 corridor, I-74. At this point, I think we can give an all clear for Macon County, Fayette County, Sangamon. I don't think Fayette County was in that tornado watch either. But Fayette County, I think you're all good. Macon County, Sangamon County, and then, of course, to the north and west towards Lincoln, Beardstown, Virginia, up towards the Petersburg and Jacksonville area as we continue to watch these storms move on through. Next in line here is this storm moves through Shelby County, is going to be southern Coles, Cumberland County, of course Effingham County now, and we're still dealing with the Shelby County problems, and that'll be where we continue to watch things there. That storm south of Effingham, you just check the Skycam?
It's just, yeah, all I can see is just rain out that direction. Rain. It's just completely just blown up there on radar. There are plenty of just dark colors in there. It's impressive. I was going to say, it's kind of passing over home now, so hopefully I'll be able to kind of get an on-the-ground view of kind of what's going on there. But at the moment, can only just kind of assume what's going on in there. But yeah, probably hail anywhere between 1 and 2 inches in there, and just buckets and buckets of rain. And talked about the flash flood potential. That one's just such a slow moving storm. I'd be surprised, and I'm going to check here real quick. I don't think that one is moving hardly more than probably 20 miles an hour, just a little off to the southeast. And we'll take a look, and it is moving at 15 miles an hour. So definitely watching for some flash flooding there in kind of rural Effingham County, kind of out there towards the south. Overall, this threat kind of looks like it's going to miss really a chunk of any kind of big population areas. But, man, where you're seeing that rain, you're seeing a lot of it, and it could get a little bit tricky there as that continues on. We're going to flip back over here to our reflectivity image and just kind of take a broad look here at what's going on. We're kind of in that mode now where these storms have started to cluster up, and sooner than later, we're going to have that damaging wind threat really be what's going on. And that's why you see those warnings so far out ahead of this kind of cluster of storms. Kind of sometimes that gust front kind of jumps out in front of the storms. I think this one's been doing a good job of kind of keeping with it there, but still got the orange outlines on there, still watching kind of some areas of rotation to potentially continue to monitor here. And we'll go ahead and pop up the velocity images there, and you can still just kind of see some broad areas there, especially kind of heading towards the Herrick area there in kind of northern Shelby County. Just an area to watch there. But overall, it kind of looks like the tornado risk has kind of come down. We still kind of got those possible tags on it just to kind of watch and see what happens. But now all of a sudden the focus is going to shift to those strong winds over the course of the next several hours. We'll kind of just watch as this one eventually is going to get over there at some point to the kind of Coles and Cumberland County areas there. And we'll just have to watch kind of the Mattoon, Charleston area will kind of be on alert. This one might pass off just to your south just a little bit there. Looking at it, we'll get our sky cams up there in Coles County to see what's going on. But I agree, Jacob, here within the next 30 or so minutes, just kind of watching for that kind of quick tornado potential there within some of these storms, as you can kind of get some of those wrapped up around in there with just a sudden inflow there. But it looks like effectively it's just going to be the wind threat for now.
All right, thanks, Seth, for that report. We've got Kevin out there now. I believe Kevin's in the Sharpsburg area, based on watching his camera. Kevin, talk to us about some of the damage you're seeing now in Christian County.
Yeah, more damage here coming. You're right. I'm just south of Sharpsburg right now. This home here has got a lot of trees that are down, and it looks like partially the roof, some of the roof there, some of the shingles. I don't know if they were possibly working on that, but you can see there are tons of limbs that are down here. Again, this is going to be north or just south of Sharpsburg. I'm going to be turning back to the north there towards Sharpsburg, and like you said, look for some of the damage that we've seen up there. But just within this one home that we're seeing here, man, I'm just kind of looking around here. There are lots of trees snapped here, and let's just kind of keep going along here and see what we see. But we're coming up here where we'll be turning right into Sharpsburg here and see if we have any additional damage that's up here. You can see the sun is actually back out now, so that's what we're looking at this moment with some damage here. So I'm going to reposition, and then I'll get back to you guys here in just a second as we are finding damage here again near Sharpsburg, and we're going to scoot to the north and see what else that we can see here. But as a matter of fact, there's even a we'll show you that. I'll show you this here just real quick because, listen, we've had bad weather and severe weather, but see out there in the distance about the rainbow that is showing up here as well. As the rain continues to kind of fall here, and as I mentioned, the sun is out, but we're seeing a rainbow here, again, just south of Sharpsburg. We're going to keep you updated with things and let you know what else we find here in the next few minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Kevin. Just want to relay to you, we're going to keep your camera shot up as well. There's that rainbow. He's looking back there. Nice shot after the storm for Christian County. Kevin, we did get word from the Deputy Chief of Christian County Sheriff's Department. They have received reports of poles down and homes damaged west of Sharpsburg. There's more damage west of Sharpsburg where you are at. That's where the tornado was at its largest, and there's been a lot of videos and pictures of that tornado that have come on through here. One of those is right. Just had it here. Let me find it on my link here. Here we go. Here's one of the videos. I'll share for you real fast. This was one of the tornadoes that came on through. Again, this was towards the Sharpsburg area. Very wrapped in rain, but if you look closely, right in here, see that? That is the tornado. That's from our friend Shay's from Pana, and he's a storm chaser out there. And so we've had a history of damage with this particular storm, and that's from the 20. You can see all the power flashes from that as well. See that, Seth? That means there's damage that has happened west of Sharpsburg from that that storm. I think he was on 121, probably looking north there, based on knowing his location. So there's been damage to homes, and we have not received any information on injuries yet. But again, that is damage from that area, thanks to some information that has come on in. As we also then go back to radar real quick here, that storm down by really the Oconee, that one catches my attention there. If you see this right on the line, that's going to be southwestern Shelby County. That's the one that in particular stands out to me as starting to show signs of strengthening, and it's in the spot where the boundary that these storms are riding is still able to pull in some of that spin and cause some problems like we've had here in the Christian County area. So certainly we are watching things and keeping an eye on it, and going to monitor things here for the next couple of minutes. At this point, Shelbyville, the strong wind is upon you. That area of rotation does seem to be breaking apart a little bit, and that's some good news. The wind threat, though, is clearly taking off on that, and so likely Shelbyville now getting some 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's been the forecast, though, Seth. Tornado storms early on through 3 to 7 o'clock, and then after 7 o'clock or so, we start to see them line up together and move to the south and east, and that's what we've got going on here. And you and I have been watching these storms past couple of days, and right on the money for the forecast. Still not done with the tornado threat, though, are we, Seth? Correct.
Even when we've mentioned it before, even when you kind of get these linear structures, there's still times where they can kind of be embedded in there within the storms. Now, usually when that happens, it'll be a little bit more on the kind of brief end of things. But yeah, when the tornado threat's not quite over yet, we've still got that tornado watch out there for many areas until 10 p.m. And I do have to think that one will probably last here as we go on into the night. But as you can just kind of see on velocity right now, we just kind of got some bright colors, not necessarily couplets anymore, but just strong, bright colors indicative of pretty strong damaging winds there, anywhere in the ballpark of probably 60, maybe even up to 70 miles an hour there in a couple of spots. But that's kind of just the way the storm mode is going to be here for the rest of the night. We'll see how these storms continue to progress and develop, but still watching features like that one you just mentioned, just kind of south of Oconee there. It's just something to keep in mind. Kind of the Herrick and Cowden areas might want to watch, because this one's got a pretty intriguing structure to it as it kind of moves on to the east and gets ready to head into the very southern portion of Shelby County there.
Yeah, that's going to be right north of Ramsey, Herrick next in line, eventually Cowden. Pretty rural area, but then down towards Beecher City, and then that one would be heading towards Effingham County, and so that's something that we want to watch pretty closely there. And so that to me is the storm to watch, and based on what has happened today, that is probably got a good shot at doing something here before long, so we're going to watch that. The Effingham County storm, are you seeing much rotation on our side of the county line, or is it kind of seems like it's maybe surging a little more south and east? Is that correct?
It's still kind of, yeah, just kind of starting to shift a little bit more to the south. I'll go ahead and put this in motion here just to kind of see what it's been doing over the course of the last hour. But yeah, it's kind of just starting to tail a little bit there to the south. Lots of heavy rain still in it, but kind of the rotation is enough to kind of keep that possible tag on it, but I haven't seen anything that would make me think that the threat is more imminent than it's ever been. But as I mentioned earlier, we're kind of getting to that point where we're getting far enough away from both the Lincoln and St. Louis radar to where we're just kind of going to be in a radar hole here for a little bit, because the one out there by Evansville is not operational here. So kind of just a dark zone as that one moves on to the east. But luckily at the moment, just looks like a lot of heavy beneficial rain. Hopefully not too much down that direction, but looks like the hail is starting to subside just a little bit. The core kind of not quite as strong as what it once looked, but of course we're looking way up high here into the core of this storm, so can't really give an accurate estimation of what's going there on at the ground right now, but just kind of broad rotation. I did have someone message me. They kind of did see some kind of what they called cone structure around Diedrich. They didn't say it was rotating or anything, though, just kind of those kind of that structure within some of these cells, sometimes kind of just the scud on the base of some of these storms. Kind of just something to expect here with this one. Mainly just kind of a hail threat there with that. And I don't know, that latest scan now kind of makes that storm on the very southern appendage of this big cluster, that one in the very southern part of Shelby County, that one's starting to look better here with each scan. I'm going to go ahead and toss things onto our velocity image here, and it's starting to get a little better looking there. Still not the brightest colors that you kind of ring the alarm for and say that this is definitely heading that way, but we've kind of just seen within the last couple of scans, so just kind of back things up here. It went from really broad right there, kind of some dark green and some dark red, and as it's gotten a little closer to 51 there, things have started to tighten up just a little bit. So an area of interest here probably in the next 10 to 20 minutes to keep track of. And this is probably the area that you'll see any kind of potential tornado threat through the rest of the night. It's just kind of here on the southern flank of these storms where it's not really battling anything to its south. It can just kind of ingest all that unstable air and kind of continue to make things happen as it continues along. Whereas some of those storms up to the north, we've kind of seen what's been happening with those, kind of just starting to be a little bit more on the gustier side of things as opposed to being more on the rotational side of things.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put mine full screen real fast and just look at this picture that came out again. This is from Storm Chaser Shay. Kevin's heading to the area where this tornado was spotted, and we're getting more reports from the Christian County Sheriff's Office of damage and the fire department heading out there. It's maybe hard to see. There we go. You zoom in. You look right in the center of the screen. You'll see my big cursor there kind of circle it. That was a sizable tornado that tore through western parts of Christian County and is continuing its track to the east. It may have been down for 15 or more miles based on damage. We know there is damage in Sangamon County. I've been texting with Theodora Culavares. She's also checking in with officials there as we've got these storms carrying to the south and to the east. I think that's going to be our plan. So we will stay here until 8 o'clock on TV. And so about 7:57 or so, we'll wrap things up. As long as things progress in this general direction, we will keep our digital coverage going, though, as we watch these storms continue to the south and east. I know some folks that are in Cumberland County, Coles County, Effingham County, they're saying, don't leave us. We will stay with you, but we will continue on digital platforms. That'll give you a few minutes. You can download the WCIA3 news and weather apps. You can stream our digital coverage there. You can go to Facebook. Any of our meteorologist pages have this coverage on there. Kevin's, Seth's, mine, even Adam's. You can catch us on your favorite at-home programming method, whether it's YouTube TV or things of that, as we keep things updated. And then Kevin there is continuing his track to the west. If Kevin can hear me, the report we got was that 1800 North Road area towards the Sharpsburg, west of Sharpsburg, where there's been some damage to homes and power lines. And I would suggest that be north of Kincaid, kind of in that curve area. You get to the T. I think that's where he's probably heading based on looking at his thing there. So Kevin, you can hear us now, and you're heading to the other area. We've got Theodore giving us damage updates and more. And as soon as we want to, he's back there. Kevin, give us an update on where you are. Recap us on some of the damage, and then talk to us about what you think you'll see here moving forth.
Yeah, you are right. I am on 1800 North Road here. Going to be just southwest of Sharpsburg. So I think we're going to be coming up upon where possibly some of that damage that you were just talking about is. Possibly we've heard some trees, power lines, home damaged here as well. Again, we're just rolling up on this here. I've got a couple of tree limbs here down on the left and right side. This is the, let's see, Bobo Lou Hereford Farm is the sign that we're seeing. Okay, here we go. Here's a pretty large tree here that is down, as you can see. And so that's one there. I'm gonna keep kind of going down 1800 North, but obviously you can see some of the damage here. Pretty large tree that is down. And again, you can also still see that rainbow that is over there as well. So here we go. I'm gonna just kind of peel back around, and we're gonna keep going on 1800 North because I have a feeling the damage is going to be even more as we go down this hill and then back up here on the top. The power lines that are by left. I will say this. Actually, whoa, there's one that snapped. Looks like. I will say this. When we were showing you that. Oh, okay, there we go. I think this is. Well, I'm gonna have to double back around. You can almost kind of see maybe some crop damage here. And I think when we get up on this hill, we're gonna see even more. But several trees here. This is absolutely. Seeing debris here up in the power lines. We're going to be just kind of careful here as we creep through, and you're going to see lots of limbs that are down here. I can see some damage to a house here on my left. Lots of roof damage here. Bad Wolf Pottery. This is absolutely where we've had a tornado that has passed through. Power lines are down here. It looks like the sheriff is over here as well. I'm gonna let these cars kind of pass by, and then probably have a pretty good view, possibly of some flattened crops over here. And I'm just gonna come in here, see if we can see anything. Yeah, a lot of trees kind of blocking the view here. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try to get to my best position here in a second, and then I'll jump back here with you, because again, we're literally just coming up on scene of this and assessing things right now. There seems to be a couple of houses over here where there has definitely been some damage to this area. So these are, you can see, here's the power lines. Here are the power lines that are down over here on the left. And just everywhere I look, quite a few trees. And just look at the crop there that definitely where the tornado came through and has flattened a lot of that. So this is exactly where a tornado did pass through. More of the trees here. As you can see, the top parts of the trees that have been clipped off. A lot of roof damage here, shingles and whatnot. And again, we're just seeing a lot of activity here. Looks like possibly another power pole that was snapped. Well, here's a pretty large tree. Again, the crops over here just flattened. And then so there's a, wow, these are some very large trees that are down. So again, oh, here, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn back here, and you're gonna see a row of power lines that are down. So as you can see there. All right, so there you go. So this is what we're looking at here, guys. A lot of damage here, exactly where a tornado passed through.
All right, Kevin, real quick, we're going to stay with you and come back to you here in a second, but I do want to update real quick some of the damage, of course, in Christian and Sangamon County. There's reports that are coming on in, still getting information, and Kevin is now west of Sharpsburg. For your information, Kevin, if you keep going to the west, the road hits a T. I think you'll see more damage when you take a right and go north as well, but you're looking there at power lines that are down on the right side of your screen, some significant damage reports in the Christian County area, and Kevin's just getting on scene of that. On here on the left side, I want to point something out. I'm starting to grow concerned about tornado potential now east of Shelbyville towards Strasburg and Windsor, and off towards areas between Mattoon and Jewett and Greenup. What's happening here is we're seeing the surge of wind really start to organize and push to the south and east. A lot of strong wind now coming for Strasburg. As that happens, this mass here is kind of lifting to the north. That may very well allow for, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, another circulation to spin up. The other thing is, here comes the surge of wind. These storms here are lifting to the north, and we may have to really watch closely there, southeastern Shelby County into Cumberland County and beyond, so we'll watch that here. Kevin is getting in position there on the right side of your screen. I know in a second when he gets that shot, he's going to bring that back to us. I am suspicious as well. Those look like new utility poles, and knowing that area, I wonder if maybe the derecho came through that area and caused damage as well. That's a little south of Springfield, but boy, a couple months ago, Springfield was hit hard, Seth, wasn't it? Yeah,
it felt like Springfield was kind of a spot that anytime there was severe weather, they were getting it. Because I mean,
and Chatham.
There's places, Chatham's gotten 2+ inch hail probably 5 or 6 times here this season. But yeah, there's a lot of places that got hit by that derecho back about 2 months ago, and it caused a little bit of a stir down that direction, and lots of damage, lots of power outages, especially over there in Springfield. So kind of new infrastructure being put down there as far as the power lines go, and kind of being put to the test here again with today's round of showers and storms. Just kind of adding on to what you've been saying about these storms here, I'm also kind of watching that one on the kind of the southern flank. We might get a decent view of this one from the Effingham cam before too long. I can get a little bit of a base in the distance. There's not high contrast to it, but kind of entering the. It will be entering the northwest portion of Effingham County here soon, but right now on the northeast side of the Fayette County area, kind of just looking in the Loudon area, kind of south of Cowden. This will be an area to watch. Beecher City there, of course, as well. So Effingham County, you've got a lot of noise to your south, but you definitely need to keep your eyes to the north here, as this the southern flank of this line of storms is starting to look like it's got a little bit of its own kind of motion to it here at the moment.
Yeah, all of that. Still, I'm not. What's the terminology? I don't think we're done yet.
No,
I'll say that. And this here might be a Neoga issue potentially down the line. No warning. It's a tornado watch with a severe thunderstorm warning and what's called a tornado possible tag for Shelby County. But just seeing how things have evolved, sometimes we have these storms that merge together. And I tell you what, I really think Chatham and Springfield got really lucky that that storm didn't organize earlier. We had some storms kind of move into it. And then once it got there towards the Pawnee area, you had a storm merge in, and it really helped it to rotate and spin. And that's been the case here with the Windsor-Sharpsburg, Strasburg, I should say, where another storm wrapping in and timing out right, where those familiar signs of what may evolve if all the cards are right. And just to show you here, I'll loop this the last 30 minutes. These storms here, kind of building out in front of it, and this is surging around. Sometimes that can allow for some rotation. Again, I don't think anything's imminent in the next 2 minutes, but certainly the potential is there for southern Coles and into Cumberland County that may be something worth watching. We have that camera in Mattoon also. Don't forget that one also.
I think the Mattoon one unfortunately went offline earlier today, so I don't think we have that one. We do have the Charleston one, but not quite.
Charleston one faces north.
Yeah, not quite as helpful with that one.
Yeah, so Effingham, you got that camera up on your computer?
I do. Right now I'm kind of seeing a pretty nice shelf cloud. Let me get that.
Yeah, go ahead and pull that in. And then once we do this, we're going to go to Kevin in a second, I think, here. So, but go ahead and...
This is what we're seeing in Effingham right now, kind of that segment, that line segment of storms. You can really see a pretty nice view of it from atop the St. Anthony Hospital here in Effingham. This is looking off to the northwest here at the moment. I'll just kind of move things slowly off to the west. You can just see kind of that nice broad shelf cloud as these storms kind of have nice little amount of wind to them now. We are going to watch kind of the southern end of this shelf cloud, though. I'm kind of watching that side. That's kind of where, again, that southern tip of that line segment is, where it kind of looks like there's a little bit of rotation. So we're going to kind of be looking off here to the northwest for a little bit. Jacob, do we have anything new on your end?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go out to Kevin if we can, because we're really starting to see some of that significant damage in that area. And I know he was talking to some homeowners. He was there on 1800 North Road west of Sharpsburg. And we're looking at the video at the same time you are here, this extended coverage of a significant tornado strike in Christian County tonight. And Kevin is out there. Kevin, if you can hear us, I'd like to know where you're at, what you're seeing, and tell us a little about what some of the folks in the area are saying to you.
Sure. Yeah. So we are here at 1800, and I think this is 900 East. Can't quite exactly see the sign there, but pretty close to that. You can see several of the trees that are down at this home, as you can see. I mean, just look at this stump here as well. I was told that also that this same area was hit. This was the last. So some of this was from the last storm. That as the storms that came through, this area got hit. What a couple weeks ago, was it then, or when that was? The last big storm that they had. A lot of people keep telling me that this area got hit. Actually, all of these lines, these poles that you see here, they're brand new. They just put these things up not too long ago in the same area because they were damaged before, and you can just kind of see just how new they are with the color of them. And so this area hit pretty hard. You can see here's the power line that is down across the road, and as I kind of swing over here, you're going to see more of those power lines that have snapped, and then there are more poles along here that are down. Again, you can see some of the crop damage here kind of flattened pretty good as well, as this is the path of where a tornado did come through. So we're still kind of just assessing things here, but we are, again, southwest of Sharpsburg, and a lot of damage here once again.
All right, Kevin, have you talked to is there a homeowner there, anyone? Do you have any information for us quickly at all?
Not yet. This gentleman here, he is actually from Edinburgh, and he just came over here. He actually said he was a power lineman for 30 years, and so he kind of figured this might be the location of where we had some damage, and he's right. Again, you can see there off in the distance, again, there's another rainbow. I'm going to go over and maybe try to talk to some of the homeowners, but again, guys, we'll keep you updated on anything else that we see.
All right, Kevin, thanks for that report. I'm going to go ahead and stay on coverage here because I'm seeing signs now of increasing rotation, as we had talked about now, east of Strasburg, starting to come together. See these bright colors in here? This is going to be moving towards Neoga and towards Lake Mattoon. At this point, it does not look like a tornado is imminent, but we are moving in stair steps in the right direction here. And so while Kevin's getting set, we'll just kind of check back on him. Starting to get a little more concerned here for I-57 between Mattoon and Effingham with that particular storm. As you look here, you kind of zoom it out. Some of those colors starting to come together in a couple of different spots. First off, Windsor as well. Would not rule out that area. Also east of Strasburg. Here's the deal, though. See how it's all wrapped up in rain? Your best bet is going to be right here in Strasburg area. And they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning continuing to the east into parts of Cumberland and Coles County, as well as into Effingham County for this line. It has the tornado possible tag. Let's see if the new velocity at all shows any better what I'm thinking. First off, I think Strasburg and Windsor and getting a big old windstorm right now. We'll take a look at some of these pixels. It's probably estimating 60 to, let me just hide that. And I'm going to do that pixel again. Never works when you want it to, does it? I'll just have to leave that box up and check it internally here on radar. Radar is estimating some 60+ mile-per-hour winds in the Windsor and Strasburg area. And this feature right here is probably one worth watching. When you look at where it is, it's right in that little kink there. So we're seeing inflows starting to increase now. Probably a safe option if you're in Neoga, Lake Mattoon, Lake Paradise. It might be worth it to just head to a shelter. The storm's coming on in. At the worst, you know, you get a little wind and things look okay. You know, that might be the best case scenario. At the worst, though, this could be the start of something starting to develop here. And I think
I do have a brief view of that from the Effingham camera.
Yeah, go ahead and pull up. Let's pull Max. Yeah.
Let me get that Skycam pulled up here on my show. I think we got a little bit of a lowering. It doesn't look like much yet, but I do think this is just barely looking to the west of north there towards that kind of Neoga area. So that's kind of just a little bit of a lowering that I've noticed. There's nothing between this camera and that particular area of interest there. So it looks like we're kind of looking that direction anyway. It looks, again, there's a little bit of a lowering, nothing too crazy that's jumping off the page just yet, but we've kind of been trending that direction just a little bit, just kind of slowly watching to see if this does anything here within the next few minutes, because it does definitely look like things have started to head a little bit more that direction with that storm. Again, just kind of around the Strasburg area here right now on its way kind of north of Neoga here. So we'll just kind of watch things from atop the Effingham camera. Probably our best shot at looking at some of these storms here for a while, because without the Coles County cams, can't really see too much going on in there here at the moment.
Yeah, so really Windsor and Strasburg, a lot of wind, and I think the tornado potential is slowly rising in those areas. We're starting to hit nighttime as well, but from radar, I really think Windsor, the Illinois 32, Illinois 16 corridor where they come together, there may be something developing in there. We've got this really intense area of motion heading south and east. We've got this motion wrapping in here, and so we really could see something develop here before long based on those early signs. And the boundary, there's a boundary, and a lot of times those can be pulled in by storms, and they increase the intensity, really help rotation to increase, is being pulled right into this area. So I just want to stay on this a little longer. We will, if we see some changes in the right direction, then we'll toss back to our regular programming here in a second. But I'm really concerned now for eastern Shelby County, and I would really be watching Mattoon, Charleston, Lake Paradise, Lake Mattoon, Neoga, probably next in line here. And those areas, even like Gaze, points to the south, might be worth monitoring for just a few more minutes, Seth. Other storms, not getting that good of a look. I think Effingham County, from that big old massive storms, it's turning into more of a Jasper-Crawford County issue. But there was some golf ball size hail in Edgewood reported, and there's been a measured estimated 60 mile-per-hour winds there in the Mason area. And they've also had some hail in Altamont, quarter-sized hail there. Are you seeing what I'm seeing when it comes to this here, Seth, this storm?
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's definitely something that definitely warrants sticking around here for a little bit, just to kind of see what is going to go down here with this, because yeah, it's just kind of got the, you know, we've been seeing kind of clues that ended up leading to tornado warnings all night long, and we're kind of starting to see that up here this direction right now as it kind of gets ready to move across 57 there. Kind of watching southern Coles County area. Still just kind of a lot of kind of a shelfy look here from Effingham. I can't really make out anything too significant here, but if we are going to be able to see it, we'll be able to see it from this cam, just because there shouldn't be anything between where we are here in Effingham, looking there to the north at the moment. And like you said, daylight is kind of starting to run a little bit thin here. Sunset's close to 8 o'clock these days, so only be able to see on the sky cams for too much longer until we're going to have to rely on some lightning there to kind of illuminate things and keep an eye on everything from our Skycam network anyway.
Yeah, kind of looking up, there's definitely some strong mid-level rotation in a couple of spots. One near Windsor, one east of Strasburg, and one to the west of Neoga. At the surface, though, it's not as impressive, but when you get that mid-level rotation, oftentimes you see it at the mid-level and it will stretch its way down towards the ground. And so I just want to stay here for a few more minutes. And I realize some folks are thinking, hey, you're inconveniencing my night. I want to watch my TV programming. You know, we got an obligation to give our coverage to folks that are in the path of these storms, and we will continue to do that here. These storms had a history of significant damage from tornadoes and from wind as well. And it looks like Kevin on the top right of the screen, he's there kind of close to the west of Sharpsburg, is on some more damage here, and he's going to be kind of moving in to give us an up-close view in that. So if needed, Kevin, just let us know and we'll check in with you here. If you're watching at home and you haven't downloaded the app yet, go ahead and do that, because I think we'll probably hear in a couple of minutes, if this continues to kind of hold its own, we'll be a phone call away from jumping back on TV, and we'll go back to the regular program, but we'll stay on digital coverage here for a little while longer until we can get these storms out of the area. So right now the time is 8:04, and real concern now for eastern Shelby County and into parts of Coles and Cumberland counties. Mattoon, Charleston South is where the problems will be, particularly in the Neoga area right now. As I just kind of look at things, I'm seeing those initial signs of rotations starting to increase, very close to Neoga as we are. And in fact, I just got a report of a large wall cloud now, Neoga, that just coming on in. I mean, that came in moments ago. Very ominous looking situation with that. And let me go ahead and just pop that photo on for you here. The concern now growing for Neoga, Lake Mattoon, Lake Paradise, and surrounding areas. I think I've got this to where it will pop up and work right. There it is now. Let me turn it sideways to make it full screen more. What we're looking at here is this is the area of rotation that's starting to show here up at the surface. Now, he's near Neoga looking off to the north. The storm is almost wrapped in there, so it's wrapped up back in the rain. There's only a narrow little slice of the view that you can see it from like this. Other areas are going to be just stuck in the rain. But certainly concern there for Neoga, Lake Mattoon, Lake Paradise, and places like that is something that's growing a little bit. So I wanted to share that photo as we continue to watch these storms move into parts of Cumberland and Coles County. Did get a new severe thunderstorm warning, Macoupin and Montgomery. Those storms further to the west there, they're moving south and east to be out of our way. And probably what these storms are doing at this point, if we don't get any more tornadoes out of this, Seth, they're going to be kind of accelerating together and become a big wind bag, moving down to the south and east towards Greenup, Newton, and Robinson. I'd say that's probably the most likely scenario here. And we're only an hour or two away from getting out of coverage, I would say, with these particular storms. So that is, you know, good news. We're on the tail end swing of things, but still some concern there. In fact, that latest update, trying to get my other radar here. Neoga, west of Neoga, a couple miles, the Trowbridge area. Man, that wind is really blowing on through.
I just got a friend living in Neoga said the sirens are going off there in Neoga right now.
Sirens are going off in Neoga. I tell you what, I'm not surprised by that. Let's see here. You're in the Effingham looking to the north. Somebody saying the wind, calm in Windsor, raining hard and lightning right now. And, you know, I'm not surprised. We're going to be here for Neoga because I am a little concerned. It'll be Neoga, maybe a little bit to the north. And as I check here, I'm just kind of checking some other products on the side. You know, that's the spot, really. Neoga, north there along the county line where something could spin. And the wind is going to be a problem as well here. We've got some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds coming in through Neoga, out of Strasburg, and in that area. So the next couple of radar scans are going to be very trivial to tell us what's happening. I would say this, down towards Stewartson, would you kind of see this? It almost seems like it's breaking apart a little bit. I mean, it seemed more clustered, but this might be trying to break away and do something. Wouldn't you say that, Seth?
Yeah, it certainly looks like that's kind of the direction that it's heading there. Yeah, absolutely. On the latest scans, that is something to acknowledge and something to track as it kind of gets ready to do its own thing here as it kind of passes on through to Neoga, now becoming a Cumberland and far southern Coles County issue here. We're going to be watching places like Toledo here for the next several minutes, just on the north side of there. We'll see how this progresses here. But yeah, things are starting to really start to trend that direction anyway. Still not able to see too much going on here on the Effingham cam. It just looks like a lot of kind of shelfiness to it. And I don't think, unfortunately, we'll be able to see much here from atop the hospital cam at the moment, as things are just looking like they're going to about about to get a little too dark here to see much.
Yeah, so one thing I want to mention is, well, at this point, we don't have a tornado warning in the Neoga area. There is that tornado possible tag, and we think there's some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. And based on what we're seeing on radar, something may be there. Nighttime is working against us, and rain wrap is working against us where this storm is wrapping up. The sirens are going off in Neoga at this point. We've confirmed that from a couple of sources. And what we think might be happening here is this coming together very close to the Neoga area, crossing Illinois 121 and US 45 in Cumberland County. And you know, that northern spot, not as much of a concern. I really think here this is going to be more of the issue. And let me just real quick, I'm going to sample those pixels that are there west of town. I'm going to see if that works like I hope it does. It's probably going to pull up the information. Those bright pixels, though, I can see behind the scenes here that the, let me get that adjusted real quick. This is not being my friend tonight here. That's what I want to hide.
Oh, I got something here, Jacob. I got 70 miles an hour.
70 mile an hour?
Yep.
Yeah, mine keeps wanting to plot the warning. There it is, some 67 mile an hour, so 70 mile an hour winds in there. And is that what they're warning it for as well, perhaps?
It looks, let me double check on that and see. They've got it, still just says 60 right now on mine.
Still 60. Yeah, we'll see what happens here before long, but concern now in Neoga, a big windstorm coming through. That's going to eventually move down 121 towards Toledo and Greenup. And if we can get this out of here, the quicker the better. Should be still some fairly decent wind in Strasburg and Stewardson. Check out power outage numbers here as well. Power outage numbers have climbed a little bit. We now have some outages in Effingham County. There's nearly 1,000 customers in Christian County offline, and we'll continue to see them grow a little bit. Can we all talk to Kevin? Is Kevin able to hear us? I know he's walking through some of the damaged areas in Christian County. Kevin, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing here.
Hey, yeah, guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
I think you can. I'm just coming up on some of this damage here. Just kind of walking along here. The police have blocked off the roads, so I can't actually, I had to get out and get on foot and try to get some of this damage here, as you can see. And so there is a home that is over here, pretty large trees that are kind of snapped all through this area, and it looks like some siding on that house there with some of that damage. And again, it's pretty much everywhere you look out here. I mean, it does look like it was, you know, a lower end tornado. I'm not seeing just mass devastation or, you know, homes that are leveled or anything, but definitely probably a lower end tornado that came through, clipping a lot of the trees and whatnot through this area. But again, like you said, now we're starting to get some of that darkness that is settling in. But this area here, southwest of Sharpsburg, definitely had some of that damage. And again, power lines down all along this stretch of road on 1800 North. You can see some of the other homes here, a lot of the trees, and like I said, the power lines down in this general area. So that's kind of what we're looking at here right now. And again, darkness coming, so won't be able to see a whole lot here before too long. But definitely you can hear the sound of generators. I don't think that they have power, obviously, in some of these spots, but I'm hearing generators, I'm hearing chainsaws, the normal sound. And again, you can see there's another home that has some roof damage to it as well. So that's what we got here from southwest of Sharpsburg, as we're on foot right now, just making our way around to find some of the damage.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. And as darkness falls, we'll probably, see if you can probably start heading back this way, because you're not going to see much more, but we know there's some damage all the way back from Pawnee. So this could have been on the ground for a while. And National Weather Service, as Kevin was mentioning, where he is seeing lighter end of damage. I know in some areas that damage probably a little bit more impressive, but they will survey that, and we should have a report from them probably at some point tomorrow afternoon on this storm. Neoga area right now looks like the core of wind is upon you, and I think what we're going to do is, as far as tornado potential here, it just doesn't seem to be getting its act together. And you know, that boundary keeps pushing ahead. So what we'll do in the back is 8:15 or so, just in a couple of minutes, give me a time and we'll toss it back to regularly scheduled program here. And then we'll have more news coverage coming up at 9 and 10 with Seth in the studio. And if needed, we will be back on TV. We will stay on digital platforms, though, with this situation as it continues to evolve. Probably some big hail also there in the Lake Paradise, Mattoon area, Lakeland College, or at least it's trending upwards, perhaps. Not showing much now, but kind of those first signs, something heavier going on there as these storms continue to work to the south and east. So at this point, a lot of us are clear for the night. Christian County's done. Moultrie County almost done, just the Gaze area. Shelby County almost done. We're just east of Shelbyville there. 8:16, cool, thank you. Those areas will be still facing things. And we're going to just keep our digital coverage right on the app, on Facebook and whatnot, and continue to bring you updates as we get information from areas that have damage and whatnot. So that's the latest on what we'll do. We'll do a quick radar reset here. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We've got meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff in the studio. And then we've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the Storm Tracker here tonight. You'll see most of the activity now down towards the Effingham area, the Cumberland County, Southern Coles County. We are not leaving you alone. We will be here for you on digital platforms. So far, things have been right there, and we're hoping that trend holds, and that means we don't have to jump back on TV. But if there is a tornado warning, we'll be right back on TV, as that's the most effective way to reach our audience when it comes to severe weather, as we've heard time and time again. And we will continue to give severe weather coverage when it's warranted, such as on a night-to-night. Neoga's probably getting a good old windbag in there. And we'll continue to see Sullivan. There's some power outages in that area, so we'll probably see those numbers trick on up. So about a minute out from tossing back to coverage here. If you haven't yet, join us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter, or X as they call it now. We will continue our coverage on the digital platforms when we return to regularly scheduled programming. Of course, you'll see the boxes right here, bottom of your screen. That's going to be where we get the information as well, so we'll have that. Thanks for joining us. We want to go to Kevin real quick. Is that possible?
Yes.
Go to Kevin.
Hey, guys. Yeah, we're back out here, and you live in this home behind. We were showing pictures of it. The storm came through. Tell us what you saw.
I saw that there was a tornado on the ground near Pawnee, so I grabbed the dog and we headed to the basement for the tornado room, and it started to get a little windy and loud, so I just hunkered down, and I have really sensitive ears, so I could feel it in my ears, and it was loud, it was howling, and it was really scary. And then I just waited until it quieted down to get out and see what had happened, and then I realized water was coming down through the house, and when I came outside, the roof was gone.
So what kind of damage do you have?
A lot. There's water everywhere. I have hardwood floors through the whole first floor, so there's water standing on the floor. It seeped down into the shop. It's bad.
And you are owner of the Bad Wolf Pottery, right? That's where we're located here.
Right.
Yeah. So just super loud. Storm came through, and you and your dog there. Everybody okay?
We're okay. Yeah. Just a little freaked out.
A little freaked out.
But yeah.
So. Well, I wish you the best here. Sorry we had to meet on these circumstances, but I know that you guys also got hit like 5 weeks ago by a storm as well. This same area seems to kind of be a magnet for storms.
I know. My brother thinks I'm the magnet, but I don't know. It's so. And I actually thought before the storm hit, what are the odds that it would hit again in the same place? But apparently pretty good.
Apparently pretty good, yeah. Maybe you should go buy a lottery ticket.
I know. Something. I'm going to need it to pay for the house.
You are indeed. Well, thanks for chatting with us. I appreciate it. And we're going to walk up here just a little bit and get some pictures. Could you say and spell your name for me again?
My name is Michelle Coakes, and my last name is Coakes.
Okay,
and
perfect.
Thankfully, my neighbors, the Taylors, came to rescue me and help me, because my brain is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad. See, good neighbors coming by here, helping out. I know it's what the community's about. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe, and hopefully you don't get hit by another storm.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you. I'm just going to keep walking up here, guys. Just stay with me here for a second because we'll have a better view of the home. So she lives in the home up here. And I guess she runs some kind of a pottery business here, but she says that the roof is obviously badly damaged and water was coming in, and you can kind of see that as we're coming up. And I know it's getting kind of dark, and you guys are barely going to be able to kind of see things, but just to kind of give you an idea, you can kind of see the roof damage here that we've got as the storm came through. A lot of trees that are down up here as well. But as I mentioned before, we're not seeing homes that are just leveled. I mean, this home is, you know, generally in, you know, decent condition compared to what it could have been. But you can definitely see some holes up there in the roof. All right, guys. So this is what we're working with here. Lots of damage up here, south and west of Sharpsburg. So Jacob will send it back to you. As again, we're just kind of walking along here and seeing what we can find in terms of damage and whatnot.
All right, thanks so much for that, Kevin. At this point, we are going to toss back to regularly scheduled programming on CBS. We will stay on digital platforms and continue to watch Cumberland County closely and Effingham County as well as these storms move on through. Last thoughts, Shelby County is in the clear. Mattoon Charleston points to the north is in the clear, and they have dropped some of that tornado watch as well. You can see the remaining counties here on the bottom of your screen. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey with live team coverage for you here of severe weather tonight. Join us on digital platforms for continuing coverage here as storms continue to move through the area. Have a great night. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Okay, perfect. That'll work. And then we'll just keep, instead of production, just put that to camera 1 and 2. That works.
You guys are getting along battery, so.
Cool. All right, we are back now on digital platforms. We are back, just getting some things set behind the scenes and switched up here with our continuing coverage here. We've got Seth here, and we've got myself in here. Kevin's out in the field, and we're kind of keeping an eye on his shot, but it's starting to get dark at that point. He has had some damage from the area. At this point in the Neoga area, still some wind and this circulation kind of in here broad, moving more east and southeast towards Greenup, southern part of Coles County. But so far, I got a message that the Neoga area has not had that much wind, and so that's something that we will hopefully holds true. There have been some wind damage in Christian and Shelby counties that we're getting those reports starting to come on in as well. I want to real quick here, in digital platforms, we can be a little more conversational on things. Seth, you're mic'd up as well.
I am, yes.
These are the counties that are left here in the tornado watch, and I would suggest Christian County, Shelby County, Moultrie County are in the clear at this point. If you're watching Champaign-Urbana, Danville, Bloomington-Normal, Lincoln, Clinton, Monticello, Decatur, Taylorville, Shelbyville, Sullivan, Springfield, Jacksonville, and surrounding areas, even up towards Ford, Livingston, Iroquois counties, even Tuscola and Paris, I'll give the all clear for the night. This has just been some coverage where you grab some popcorn and you sit back and watch things here. If you are still in the Coles, Cumberland, Effingham County area and points to the south and east into Jasper, Clark, and Crawford counties, that's going to be something that we keep an eye on for a little while longer. While we're here, Seth, I want to talk just programming. You got the 9 o'clock news coming up, and I know you're going to take charge of that. There are a few photos and a few videos I've posted on my Facebook page that I can get into the system for you as well. I'll probably upload the 1 tornado video to Latiku, and you can let Marley know just to get that into the show. That'd be a great cold open.
Okay.
That would be
yeah, we can do
That'd be the way to do things. You fine with that?
I agree. Yep. I think that
Okay.
will do
So
just
with that, then that's our tornado watch. I'll get that video uploaded now, and you can get the name and location off of Facebook from that of that tornado. I'm gonna just send that and rename it here.
I'll go ahead while you're doing that. I'm just going to go ahead and pop up the Effingham cam here. It's
Sure,
hard
yeah,
to
just pop
see
that
much.
full.
It's hard to see much going on just because we have approached nighttime right now. But yeah, there we go. That was a good example of it just there. We do have some lightning strikes that are lighting up the sky here occasionally, and you can see that big shelf cloud about to kind of march on in. Some pretty gusty conditions. I just kind of checked on velocity. It looks like stuff is kind of trending to just around 60 miles an hour, if not probably a little less than that. So not quite the major wind threat that we saw there at one point, but we'll just kind of watch this as it rolls on into town. There was a nice little cloud to ground lightning strike there. It kind of gave you a nice little look as to what's going on. We're gonna go ahead and pop up back on the radar image here and just kind of scope around on a couple things. The threat for tornadoes has started to drop, but as you can see, these storms have really started to just kind of crash into each other. And when they do that, they typically start to offer more of a wind threat. And what I'll do here is I'll grab my little velocity scope, and we're going to go inside these storms here and just kind of check out what kind of velocity profiles we have. Obviously not seeing those tight couplets that we saw at one point, but you're still seeing some decent wind speeds in there. I'm just going to drop a tag on that one, just kind of south of Neoga. You're seeing velocity around 40. That's a little lower than I was expecting. Let me see if I can grab a better spot in there to kind of give a more accurate. There we go. Let me click on that one on the screen for you. And you can see velocity up to 66 miles an hour. That's a very isolated spot there. That's obviously not widespread, but still enough gusty conditions in there to still have us keep an eye on things here over the next couple of hours. But the tornado watch is still out there, like Jacob showed you, until 10 p.m. tonight. I think overall that threat is starting to wane. At this point, we're just kind of watching to see chances for strong winds. I do think the hail threat also looks to have concluded as well. Parts down here, I know my family lives down here in Effingham County. I know people have been just begging for some rain down that direction, and they're finally starting to get it here, and hopefully that's all you end up with. You can't rule out some branches being on the ground, kind of some of those smaller ones, but a little bit of gusty winds, but hopefully just mainly grabbing some rain there, and that would be the best case scenario. This thing in Jasper County, this has just refused to really kind of degrade in any sort of form. It is just one giant one kind of bucket of rain just dumping down there in kind of southern Jasper County, just a little bit to the south of Newton there. That one's been a big time rain producer and really kind of the only storm that's off on its own. We do have a couple of extra storms that are still popping up here on the western end of these. They don't look all that strong, but still seeing kind of another round of storms here in the Montgomery County area, who may have seen a little bit there at one point during the earlier evening hours there, when the bulk of the tornadic storms are moving through Christian County there. What we're going to do, we're just going to pop up our velocity image here real quick and just take a look at the way things are looking here across the area. And you'll see these colors have come down quite a bit. You don't see the reds and greens next to each other quite as tightly as what they once were. Still maybe some general rotation up here in parts of Cumberland County and kind of southern Coles County. At this point, it's just going to be kind of some big time gusty conditions. And we'll watch that continue to kind of ride and cross east of I-70 here in a little bit. Eventually will be a problem there for some folks up in Clark County as well. We'll go ahead and flip back onto our radar image here. And if you're up in Effingham right now, probably starting to get a pretty good rain over there in Altamont as well. Places like Cottonwood out there in Cumberland County starting to probably get some pretty gusty conditions out that point as well. And I am keeping an eye there on the chat. The chat is there on Jacob's computer, but I do have it up there on the monitor in front of me. So any kind of questions, you can send them our way there. I don't know if Jacob touched up on it here recently, but a lot of the threat now is kind of just in the southern half of the area, kind of just south of 72 and 74. Not really worried about much going on there in the way of kind of Champaign or Danville area or anywhere up there to the north of that. And anything behind this cluster of storms should be in the clear there for tonight. They've even started to lift the warnings there on the Montgomery County storms. Kind of just a few of those pop-up storms on the back end of this have kind of started to lose a little bit of their luster. So we kind of look at the St. Louis cam there, or the St. Louis radar, excuse me, not quite as intense as what they once looked. But back here, Effingham, Cumberland, Jasper, Coles County areas, that's what we're watching as some pretty gusty conditions are going to arrive here soon. I do have the Effingham Airport observations up here, just going to see what kind of velocity we get as it passes through there. But even the wind in general, kind of not as intense as it used to be. A couple of 65-mile-an-hour spots in there, but much more isolated than before. Probably just talking about more broadly 50 to 60-mile-an-hour gusts within some of these. We're going to pop back up the Effingham cam there. We're going to see if they're getting a pretty good dose of the storm there. Doesn't look like anything's happening big time there just yet, aside from a little bit of lightning. But we will soon see that change as it gets ready to pass over the downtown area there on the north side of town where the interstates meet there, where 57 and 70 combine in the northwest part of town there. So not much going on there on the cam other than probably just an increase in lightning activity. We're going to go ahead and toss up that tornado watch graphic here again, just kind of show you and update you here on the chances for that. It really has subsided here as these storms have clustered together. Kind of looking out there, Macoupin and Montgomery, you'll probably be the next two to be removed from this list, and Christian County as well. They'll probably keep it for as long as these storms are still alive and moving, but really starting to think that your chances are starting to dwindle here as we move further and further on into the night. And good thing here with all this is it looks like some of these storms are going to be out of the area perhaps a little bit earlier than originally anticipated, which is not anything that anyone is going to complain much about there at all. In fact, at this point, if we can just get some nice rain, not too much of it, but a nice amount there, that would be a ultimate prize here for us when it's all said and done. I'm also going to take a look. I don't imagine much is going on in our Charleston camera at the moment, but it looks like you're kind of getting grazed to the south there by that storm. We'll go ahead and put up the Charleston camera. Looks like there's a little bit of activity going on there, a little bit of heavy rain and some lightning. We'll go ahead and get that generated here and toss that on our sky cams and just kind of see what to expect as these storms move on through. Just kind of some generally moderate to heavy rain. Things might get a little windy there in town. Decent amount of lightning, nothing too over the top here with these, as we're kind of just starting to get to a level with these storms to where it's not going to cause any kind of widespread damage. Mentioned, you can see some down branches here with some of these stronger gusts, but nothing of big significance here anymore compared to what we saw there earlier with those confirmed tornadoes in the act there. So that's what it looks like in Charleston right now. I'm going to pass it back to Effingham, see if anything's going on there. It looks like we've got a few extra raindrops on the cam there now, so probably looking like things are getting ready to enter town here if they have not already. So if you're in the Effingham area, the Toledo area, kind of not tuned in Charleston as well, be ready for a nice little thunderstorm there with perhaps some gusty conditions, but nothing too over the top. We'll toss it back here on our radar image and just going to watch as these storms pass on through to the southeast, getting a little bit more speed to them, except for that one, like I said, in Jasper County, now kind of in the northern part of the Richland County there. That thing just does not want to move at all, and it's going to be a big-time rainfall total for anyone kind of in southern Effingham and southern Jasper County by the time it's all said and done. I'd be interested to hear some of the totals, because that thing has barely gone from Fayette to Jasper over the course of the last, it feels like, 2 or so hours here, so a very slow-moving storm there. But starting to get to the point where these are going to be only a threat east of I-57 there as it gets ready to cross the interstate across a good chunk of the area, still trying to do so there in Effingham. I'll go ahead and toss velocity on there again, just to kind of show you there's still some isolated pockets of some pretty windy conditions there, kind of around the Cumberland County area in there. So be ready for some gusty conditions, kind of where you see that tan. That's still anywhere around that 65-mile-an-hour range, so something to definitely still consider with that, but obviously not as widespread as what it once looked. Still got the severe warning on these for that wind threat, though, of 60+ miles an hour. Haven't been too impressed with anything as far as hail goes at this point in the night, and I also think that is something that's going to really fade here if it is not already. So as we watch, they're kind of trimming down the warnings there as this starts to move along and get ready to cross I-70 there, and be prepared to head into eastern Effingham and northern Jasper County there, and eventually over into Clark County as it continues to kind of mosey on this way. We'll pull back up Effingham there and see if anything's going on. I really think, yeah, there we go. Now we got some nice raindrops on the camera, kind of seeing it bounce around there just a little bit. Now officially kind of under that storm where things are probably getting a little stormy, but nothing too serious there that we can't handle out this direction. In fact, kind of just looking at things here, the observations at the airport there in Effingham are a little less frequent than some of the other places. So I'll keep an eye on that, kind of just see what kind of rainfall totals are happening that way and what kind of gusts that we're seeing as well. But that's the view in Effingham at the moment. I'll go ahead and probably pass it back to Charleston, see if there's anything going on up that way, kind of on the northern end of this line segment, so probably not as intense looking that direction as it is here in Effingham, but we'll take a peek anyway once that image generates there, taking its time, and things look a little quiet. I think my camera might be frozen there, so we'll give it a sec to kind of kick itself back into gear and see if there's much going on. As you can see, the cars not moving in the middle of the intersection. That's probably not the case. And that kind of starts to generate, there we go, now it's starting to move around just a little bit. So some light rain, some nice lightning there in the background as well. So not too bad up there in the Coles County area. And we'll pop back up here on radar and just kind of take a look at where things are heading. But the majority of the big-time severe weather threat is over. These are just kind of your lower-end severe storms now, kind of the 60-mile-an-hour gust range. Maybe hail getting up to quarter size, but nothing more than that here. And I'm seeing one kind of there in southern Montgomery County. It might just be the radar I'm looking at there, but you kind of look, this is the Lincoln radar that we're getting the information from. This thing in, or excuse me, that's Fayette County, just west of Kaskaskia. It's a lot of pink up there aloft. That's a pretty decent looking core up that direction. So maybe a little bit more storm action there for Vandalia, who's already seen a pretty nice storm so far here tonight. That'll be a place to watch. But as I move over closer to St. Louis, you can kind of see that core comes down just a little, just because we're looking there closer to the ground. So that'll be a storm to watch. That kind of looks like the only one that's still kind of off on its own, kind of writing its own little destiny there, and not under the influence of any other storms here. Greenup area now getting a pretty nice dose of rain out there in southern Coles County, kind of the Deanna area there near Cottonwood, getting a nice dose of rain. Probably some gusty conditions around 60 to 65 miles an hour. Also take a look there at the Coles County Airport. Wouldn't be a total waste of time there to see what kind of conditions are going on there. I do think we're just a little bit north there the airport is to see anything big. Yeah, just kind of visibility drops there, and that's about it. Not seeing anything crazy in the wind department. Although precip is looking pretty nice, picking up about 1/4 of an inch there in about less than half an hour, so not too bad there. And this is now pretty much parallel with I-70 from about, I would say, the St. Elmo area up to near Casey right now. So soon to pass over I-70, and effectively, this could be out of the area here in the next hour or so, as this is really starting to collect some steam and move on through pretty quickly. I'll just put on the loop here for the last hour. These storms starting to have a little more pace to them and starting to dive a little bit more to the south and east as well. So eventually we'll kind of have to watch the Jasper County area again, and then maybe the Crawford County area there for the first time tonight. But aside from that, this is starting to dive on out of most of the area. We've got several folks, though, that definitely want to still pay attention to what's going on. Nothing urgent here. We still got some gusty conditions, but aside from that, there's not too much going on. What I'll do here, I'm going to put the radar on the, I'm going to pause it, but it still updates here. I'm going to take a look just at the lightning and see, oh yeah, there's a bunch. Let me take a look at this one here at Newton. This will be one worth investigating for sure. Let me just, for the last hour or so here, let me just drag a box here and just check out what's going on there inside that storm. We have got a bunch of lightning strikes in there, near 500 there in the last hour, just a bunch of lightning activity. And I'll say this storm, although it hasn't always looked like the strongest thing in the world, it's held its shape. I mean, I'll kind of move this off to the side there so you can look at it and kind of get the lightning off the page there. But this thing, it hasn't shrunk at all. From the second it was there in Fayette County to right now, it's not shrunk a bit. It's just kind of dumping rain. That's the big time. It's the big time winner there. We're going to take a look here at the chat now that I have Jacob's computer back up there. We'll take a look. Got someone asking when you think storm will hit Danville. I don't think there's any kind of storm activity heading for Danville. I'll take a peek up there. You might get some rain, but I don't think you're going to see anything. Yeah, probably just getting some nice light rain, kind of like what we're getting here in Champaign at the moment. We'll keep an eye up that direction effectively, though. If you are north of where this line of storms are, you're not really going to see too much action here for the rest of the night. That's the general belief anyway. Also seeing a couple of folks, no power in Sullivan, says Ricky. Also looking around, kind I get some people asking about the Diedrich and Wheeler. That's down my direction there. I was born and raised in Diedrich. It's probably going to get a bit gusty that way, probably 60-mile-an-hour winds at the greatest, although the wind in the southern part of the storm doesn't look as pronounced as it does up there kind of in the Cumberland County area. If anything, it's going to be a light show. It's going to be some nice heavy rain there for a bit, but not seeing too much that would be a big-time damaging risk. If you do have kind of some loose outdoor objects there in kind of the Diedrich or Wheeler area, it'd be a good idea there. You have just a little bit of time to get it inside, but if there's a lot of lightning going out there, I would recommend just staying inside there at the moment. But it'll be breezy, but any kind of severe storm that you see like this is going to be that way. I wouldn't expect too much widespread mayhem with this one at all. I'll go ahead and toss back on our velocity here and just kind of take a look on things as everything still looks a little bit flat there in the velocity department. Still watching for some of those stronger gusts now exiting Cumberland County and about ready to head on into the Clark County area there. So that will be the next spot in line, kind of the KZ and an oil field area there near Moonshine and Hazel Dell as well. That'll be the spot to watch for the next round of windy conditions. Now it looks like the worst of the gust has passed through Effingham, probably just getting a nice steady rain there at the moment. I'm gonna check back in on our radar image. Not seeing a ton going on there, kind of just a little bit of a kink there in the rain. Kind of had the town there for just a second. Let's see if it pops back up again. Kind of right here in the southwest corner of the Effingham County area. And just kind of watching that, it looks like there's just very faint rotation on that. I'm not too alarmed by it. I'll keep watching that, but nothing really to be too concerned about here at the moment. I'm going to take a look and see if I've got any kind of observations from the Effingham Airport to pass along, the official observation station there in Effingham County, and it doesn't look like there's anything new going on that way. So we will stay tuned. Now, severe thunderstorm warning really expanded. Wow, they've just pretty much said anyone in the path of this is going to get that 60-mile-an-hour wind threat on there. So that's the new updated warning. And now covering pretty much the rest of the viewing area there. They kind of just pushed that all the way there to the state line. So mentioned it just a moment ago, mentioned it again. The Clark and Crawford County area is next in line for this. Already have the warning in place well out ahead of this. So within about the next hour or so, watch for some gusty conditions to come on in. Still just 60-mile-an-hour gusts and quarter-size hail there expected with that. So nothing too alarming, but now warning tossed onto that to tell you pretty much that it's on its way and it'll be there within the span of about an hour or so. These storms have some pretty good speed to them here at this point. Moving along at 35 miles an hour, still not terribly fast, but it'll get there. It'll get there here in just a bit.
Yeah. You want me to take over? You can get ready for a show?
Yeah, that would be a bad idea. Just kind of get stuff.
Why don't I switch out here? We're going to have some good tornado video for the news at 9 and the news at 10. And so by 9 o'clock, we will wrap up digital coverage. If you want, you can leave it up, switch it back to production, and leave the first 3 or 4 minutes of the show on digital. I think that's probably worth it too.
That's fine, yeah.
But I kind of hold the ship until we get to that 9 o'clock hour. So make sure you join us at 9 on CIX. And then 10 o'clock, we'll have that as well as we continue to watch things here. So Seth will step out for a bit, and then I will step in. The best part about all of this is, that's not my phone, a little bit more casual. So I like to use velocity and kind of check things out here. I'm not seeing much. One problem is there's a little further away. There's probably still some good wind coming through parts of Cumberland County. And we look at the warnings here. Would be particularly interesting. We got to get this past Casey and Westfield. Once this gets into Clark County, that goes to the Terre Haute TV market. Marshall down there, they watch a lot of the Terre Haute station, but we still have some viewers. So we'll carry this past Casey. It's really knocking on your doorstep right now with some strong winds in that area. Casey, Westfield, that'd be along Highway 49, way south of central Illinois, way south, I should say, of Champaign County. It's going to be down Clark County and the southeastern Coles and eastern Cumberland County. A little further down the line, then Effingham is still, hey, there's a Casey. We got Lucas from Casey on our digital platform. Effingham still is under that severe thunderstorm warning. The same thing, the tornado possible attack. I don't see anything definitive there as far as rotation goes. If there's a spot that catches my attention, it's south of Altima. And one problem is it's pretty high up. That would be heading towards Mason. And in that general direction, if it continues. So we'll keep an eye for southern Effingham County for tornado potential. Even the wind potential doesn't strike me as all that significant in Effingham and in Watson. I will pop up the camera. That's Springfield. I'm going to jump into Effingham and play around with that. Yeah, I want one of those chairs too. Oh, you can give me that? A little more casual here. Been standing a little while, and I got to do the morning show too. Adam's off on vacation. Used to be when the chief is away, the storms will play. Now it's when Adam leaves, storms play a little bit. So that is the case. That's Springfield. I'm going to bring up Effingham here, and we're on 2 with that. So Effingham, a lot of the rain, good soaking rains. It seems like some. Am I correct in this down your neck of the woods, Seth? You're from Effingham County.
Yep.
The rain hasn't been quite as much down there as it has other places in recent.
Dad's been telling me that they have hardly gotten anything here, like in the month of July.
Well, here you
Since
go.
That big rain at the beginning of July, it's kind of been dry that way.
Yeah, here you go, Dad. This is for you.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a power pole down and on fire in Neoga. So that's some new information coming across. Not surprised. We were on TV. I'm just checking some of the other information. Trees down in the Paradise area. Some of these other information sources that we're getting. So, man, that tornado in Christian County was something else today. It's pretty interesting to see all that today. I'm just checking I got about 6 billion sources of information. Back in the day of Mr. Roberts, you got a printed bulletin, and you might have had a radar back then. Today we've got Facebook, Twitter, NWS chat, we've got email, we've got, all these different places that trees are coming down and causing issues. Just got another report of a tree on Lake Mattoon Campground. It looks like it's a trailer park. No injuries reported there, so that is some good news. So I see in Effingham, nice rainstorm there. We'll popping back to radar here. If you live in KZ, you're getting the storm. The worst of it might just be north of town, but it still is pretty strong here. And something as far as a note goes, yeah, they dropped the severe thunderstorm warning for Effingham County. This is really eastern Cumberland County. This might mean we wrap up coverage here just in time for the 9 o'clock news. And when that happens, then that will be something to watch. Okay, so I got a new tornado watch that extended into Indiana from us. All that's left in ours is Macoupin, Montgomery, Christian, Shelby, Fayette, Moultrie, Effingham, Coles, Cumberland, Jasper, Crawford, Clark. And really at this point, all that probably needs to be left is Fayette, Effingham, Cumberland, Coles, Clark, Jasper, Crawford. Moultrie, Shelby, Christian County, I think you're done. Montgomery, Macoupin County, I think you're done too. And then that watch is extended into southern Indiana for our friends down there. That's not something we're worried about. This leading edge of storms coming through. I'll tell you what, the other big storm, I'm really impressed with the south of Robinson. And you said the Evansville radar is down, is that right?
Correct, yeah, the Evansville one's not working. And I'm telling people earlier, that storm, it's not necessarily strengthened, but it hasn't weakened in the last hour and a half. Like, it's just been a big bucket of rain there.
It's out there by itself in the right spot, so that could be a Vincennes problem before long. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, if that storm...
Just so you know, also, I know you're pulling that video. That new video that I got from Shay, we've got that in the newscast as well. I think Marley's going to stick that in your main weather potentially too.
Perfect.
But yeah, we got that oblong one. I saw you were pulling that oblong. I'm looking at. That's an old title.
That was from last night.
That's an old title. Yeah. All of a sudden I'm like, wait. So yeah, that's a pretty impressive storm. The Evansville radar being down there is not great.
Especially if something ends up happening with that storm, because you really won't be able to tell unless you look at the Indianapolis one, but that one's quite a distance away too.
Yeah, I'm thinking from Olney to Lawrenceville and Vincennes might be in a little bit of trouble here before long. I don't see the tornado threat. I mean, there's still some broad rotation, weak rotation, Martinsville. I tell you what, I'm not going to be surprised if southern Effingham County, we get a new tornado warning here soon. That would not shock me based on...
Yeah, I've been kind of watching that one as it Been kind of watching that one as it moved on in there. It looked a little intriguing, but yeah, on these recent scans, that looks a lot better than what I've seen earlier.
It's starting to pick up a little bit, and as far away as it is, Tyler, just so you know, we might, you keep doing your thing, but if we have to switch back then on air for this Effingham County storm, that may be something that happens in the next few minutes. So just keep your head in a swivel. We'll let you know. But that'd be for Mason, Edgewood, Watson through the southern strip of the county, south of Diederich on the Blacktop towards Clay City, kind of in those areas. You live south of Diederich, don't you?
I do. Just a couple of.
We can get an on-the-spot report from your mom and dad if that's.
I will have them keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, if that's what happens. She might text them and
brother and sister
and let them know.
In a mobile home out that way too.
It's there. It's in the spot it needs to be. There's probably some big hail, so I wouldn't be surprised if even that prompts a warning for a severe thunderstorm warning with that particular storm. So we shall see what the National Weather Service decides on that. Seeing some of these tornado videos today, I'm like, whew. So probably the greatest concern, wind coming into Casey, green up, still an issue into Clark County. The Effingham County storm has piqued our interest, and there's a lot of lightning in Effingham. This would be south of Effingham city limits, but be down there crossing I-57, Mason, Watson areas. It's not warned. There's probably going to be some hail, and if I throw on the hail size, it's picking up a little bit in there compared to where it was. So that's probably going to bring some quarter-size hail to Gilmore, Mason, Watson, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm trying to think. I probably could check in St. Louis radar as well. That's probably a little far away, but it just gives us another vantage point to admire things from. Maybe that's just a little off of the storm. It's there, but it's not. We'll see what happens with this particular situation. So we're close to being done. We just got another little bit to go before these storms get out of here, and then that Lawrenceville, Vincennes corridor. I'm kind of like, ooh, could be interesting to see. 8:49 p.
What I'll do here while you're doing that, Jacob, I just noticed I was pulling up while you're doing that, I just noticed the power outages are really starting to jump up there in the kind of Effingham and Jasper County areas.
I'm not surprised.
About 500 close to out of power in Effingham, 400 in Jasper, getting close to 100 there in Clay County, and near 400 in Richland County. So yeah, a little bit of an uptick in that here in the last couple of minutes. Has been a big concern all night outside of Christian County, but now seeing a handful of counties start to see a few more of those out there tonight.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive batch of storms. Where is the boundary at is my next question here. Just kind of multitasking on sources and taking a little breather on things. Very curious about the Edgewood area, probably where that is. Radar says there could be some quarter-size hail or larger coming to the Watson. We're real close to getting this out of our area. Once that storm passes Casey and hits Martinsville, we're done with the Clark County storm, and then we're just kind of babysitting that southern edge, and we'll continue to do that for a little while longer. We will see Clay County to the south. That is is Clay County in the Evansville TV market?
I feel like they would about.
Or is it? It's not Terre Haute, is it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it would be.
I don't know who Clay County is, to be honest. It's not ours, but I know we got viewers in Effingham County, kind of down in that region. So we will see how things evolve for the next little bit. Checking in some viewer reports as well. Okay, Alan says not Terre Haute, but Seth says it is Terre Haute. So I don't know who the case is. Oh, they probably had that camera shot up, and then did you switch it there for me?
Yes.
The camera. I see some people saying,
I was at the news desk.
Camera left for a snack. Who moved the camera? They're getting set for the news at 9, so that's kind of what the deal is going on there. with that particular storm. So that's funny. I didn't even realize the camera moved. We're using those cameras, and Tyler on the floor there just swings it around and gets it out of our way. That's okay, Tyler. We still like you. People are like, where's the camera? We're just seeing an empty chair. But we're back. We're back. We got the screen on full here.
Just saw a flash flood warning post for Jasper County just a second ago.
That doesn't surprise me. There it is. There's that flash flood warning. Southern Effingham, parts of Jasper, and parts of farther northern Clay County. So far, we haven't had the rain be a significant issue until really that southern area. It's been moving pretty decently through the Springfield area, but then that's kind of where we're seeing the heaviest rain, and the heaviest rain now really moving on in. That orange spot is an estimate of 3+ inches there between south of the Diederich Blacktop, between there and Newton. Julie Sands, Clay County is in the St. Louis TV market, so that's that information. Yeah, there's some of the reports from Neoga, Lake Paradise coming on in. You know, if that storm there by Effingham wants to do something, looks like they did extend the tornado watch for a couple of counties until 12 a.m. Doesn't surprise me, but I still think they're going to be chopped early. You got to be along or ahead of this line, really. Effingham County and Clark County, we're almost done, Coles and Cumberland County. That storm down there, boy, heading towards Vincennes, like that still looks really impressive to me. Good old wind back coming through. Really wish we had the So something you might do is normalize everything for the show before production gets mad at us.
I may screw up your monitor.
A lot of people get mad at us tonight, I think. Okay, Fayette County just put a new severe thunderstorm for south of Vandalia. Not surprised. Give it the good old tag. There's some little shower and storm activity coming up here by Champaign-Urbana. Are we getting any lightning on that? Oh, a little bit of lightning down towards Tolono, south of Champaign. No severe weather expected in Champaign County, but there's been some light rain and some storms coming on through, so certainly that's been the case. Bunch of lightning. Casey, Westfield, moving east into Clark County, and a bunch as well there in Effingham County. We'll keep an eye on that, and that new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Fayette County. That one should stay far southern Effingham County or sneak out. This storm coming into Effingham here, we'll continue to watch. Go from there. So here's that tornado watch. It has been extended till midnight. I'll kind of update. I updated that graphic. Got a message about 2.5 inches of rain in Paradise in a hurry. That doesn't surprise me too much. If there's something, it's crossing. Do we have an IDOT camera down there, I think? I don't know if we do or not. I forget where we have those things. Oh, some of those cameras turn off at nighttime here. Sorry if, oh, why is it not working? Well, that's not working for me. Let's put the radar back on real quick. Keep an eye on things. IDOT camera. Yeah, there's a camera right at Mason, and you can't see anything. Too dark. But certainly there's some heavy rain there from Effingham to Watson and Mason. No signs of I guess, severe weather according to the National Weather Service. I'd suggest there's probably some small hail mixed in there in spots. A little bit of hail towards Effingham, I just keep looking at that storm by Olney, and I just keep thinking, man, what a monster that is. Racing to the south and east. And then you got the Mason storm. I think once the KZ Westfield storm moves east and the Mason storm, that might be it for us for severe threat for the night. Still going to get a little lightning and thunder in Champaign County, some rain, Champaign, Danville, Douglas, Edgar counties, and down to Coles County here. Not surprised by that. And I think tomorrow, did you even forecast anything today?
I did not.
You have a little time. Updated at least. I think tomorrow is still going to be on tap for some showery weather in the region, but not severe threat. Now then Wednesday rolls around and we'll see what happens then. Might do this all over again. But that's the way things shake around here, it seems like. So continuing this digital coverage for you here. 8:58, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of reset. We'll kind of quiet things down for a minute or two. That way we can get on continuing coverage for the newscast at 9. We'll kind of start that, and then that will probably be the end of our digital coverage, I think, tonight. Wouldn't you think, Seth?
I would have to agree at this point.
That's kind of what we're thinking. So with that, let me kind of reset things. And we've got 8. I'm going to put TV 8 on. Seth's going to get set.
You can say it yourself. He won't be in the fog.
If you're listening now, it's 8:58 and 45 seconds. We are going to stay on continuing coverage, switch over to WCIX News at 9. We'll have updates on storms there, and then we will wrap up our coverage for the night, hopefully. Be done with that. We'll keep an eye on that Mason-Watson storm far southern Effingham County. We'll keep an eye on that storm near KZ Westfield. That's moving towards Terre Haute, and storms continue to exit our area. Still some thunder, lightning possible. Seth will have the full forecast updates for you coming up here in just about 60 seconds from now.
This is your WCIA3 forecast first, sponsored by Route 66 Solar.
Well, we had ourselves a little bit of a pretty exciting evening here that featured some tornadoes and lots of strong winds in there as well. We're still watching a couple of active storms. It's kind of what looks like in Effingham right now. Kind of the threat has passed through town there, but still seeing a little bit of rain there and some lightning in the background on the camera. Just take a look at our radar picture. We're really concentrated is kind of south and east of I-70 here, where we still have several severe warnings right now, mainly those out to the east for the damaging wind threat. And watching one thing just in southern Crawford County there with a bunch of rain there on the other side of that. Also just kind of watching a little bit of an intriguing velocity signature there in southern Effingham. Not too concerned about it here at the moment, but kind of the last big thing to watch as these storms start to exit the area. Still got a tornado watch out there. It's been extended until midnight for these counties here in yellow, so we'll continue to monitor the threat. And we have updates coming up here on WCIA3 News at 9 o'clock, which starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 9 on X49.
I have really sensitive ears, so I could feel it in my ears. And it was loud, it was howling, and it was really scary.
She's talking about a tornado. One central Illinois woman heard loud winds and rain, so she went to her tornado safe spot. It's the second storm to roll through Christian County within 5 weeks. Good evening, I'm Marley Capper. She says when it was all said and done, her roof was gone. Thankfully, she and her dog were not hurt. Due to the severe weather, we're going to send things back over to Seth in the Weather Center. Seth, you just mentioned that this tornado warning has been extended till midnight.
Yep, the tornado watch there, we're going to keep an eye on it, kind of in the southeast corner of the area. Basically where you're seeing storms here on radar at the moment. Still got some of those warnings on it that do have the tornado possible tag. Not too impressed by any kind of a velocity signature that's going on in those. Basically at this point, just some pretty heavy rain and maybe a strong strong gust or two in there. But overall, just kind of watching these as they pass through the area for the night. Still got kind of that severe thunderstorm warning watching south of Effingham there. Storm looked not too bad kind of around the Mason area there for a point in time, but kind of starting to flatten out since then. And again, I know he just showed you this, but this is our velocity image. Just kind of watching the last few rounds of storms here. Maybe some gusty conditions there in the Clark and Crawford County areas. And just kind of watching to see what this stuff south of Effingham does. But anywhere northwest of that is pretty much done for here for the night for the severe weather chances, but not until after they actually had a round of some pretty impressive weather. Here's our local storm reports. You can see a couple of different observations there with the tornado that really started to make the bulk of its activity felt there as it passed into northern Christian County there. Just kind of had a nice long little trail there where it was confirmed for a while. Even have a video of it there in Stonington. We'll show you here in just a sec, but plenty of hail in there as well, up to 2 inches there at one point in time. Also a few reports down here to the south. We actually had hail upwards of a quarter size there in Edgewood reported not too long ago. And also just kind of ignore that tornado there. That was from last night. That was one over there by Oblong. So that one irrelevant to right now, but some wind damage up there in Neoga where things were a little bit on the stronger side with some of those storms as they passed on through. So right now we're going to show you that video of that tornado. This was sent in by Ashley. This was south of Stonington. Pretty eye-appealing looking tornado there. Now there was some damage done. Kevin told us when he was out that there wasn't big time significant damage to homes or anything, but it was definitely enough to kind of cause a little bit of havoc out there. Still watching that tornado watch until midnight tonight. I do think places like Macoupin, Montgomery Christian, those will probably be peeled off here soon. We're just really watching to the south and east there for the rest of our tornado threat. Future track shows us this is kind of what's happening right now, so just subtract about an hour and a half from that. As you can see, those will be moving off here into the coming minutes. Marley, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Seth, thanks for keeping us weather aware. Now to our other top story of the day.
Just go from, all the organizations that work together and create one family.
He pulled leaders from all over Central Illinois to share that message. Busybody Incorporated hosted the first annual Hood Hoops tournament to help put back unity into the community. WCIA3's Ariana Williams joins us. Ariana, what inspired him to start this tournament?
Mark Levi is a Chicagoland native who's been planting his roots in Champaign for the last decade. But he says instead of seeing individual cities try to tackle their violence problems alone, he wants them to work together. So he put together this basketball tournament just for that reason.
Normally the word hood is attached to negativity and also the people in the community as well. So our thing is changing the narrative.
It takes more than one person to make up a community. And the Busybody Incorporated president says it'll take more than one community to stop violence across Central Illinois. That's why he put this basketball tournament together.
Hood is for heading our own destinies, and hoops is helping our ordained purposes surface.
He says there's no need for one organization to try to do it all when there are so many organizations ready to help across the area.
I kind of try to serve to be the needle and thread to pull the organizations together. When one program in, another one will still be going. But if we're working together, then we'll have them working together as well.
Head coach Miles Roosevelt says these are the type of role models young people need. He says the best way to teach the value of working together is to lead by example.
Being able to share those stories with each other and being able to have the kids witness what they could be like as they kind of follow their role models around.
That's why I try to catch them at this age where we can try to just refocus them and give them something more to work towards and live for.
Calvin Carson of Decatur says this event brings back hopeful memories.
I'm glad to actually bring it back, because it seemed like we was missing that for a long time. So yes, the positive of it is really a blessing.
It goes beyond today, and because this event is annual, but we need to be together and be family every day.
Sorry. He says he didn't quite have the turnout he wanted, but pulling these organizations together and seeing people enjoy themselves was an accomplishment of his own.
All right, thank you so much. Turning to our on crime this evening, a former Central Illinois educator has been sentenced for criminal sexual assault. The Vermilion County State Attorney says Robert Lazelle will be serving 85% of a 12-year sentence after pleading guilty. Lazelle was a deacon and a principal for First Baptist Church of Danville from 2000 to 2016. A museum that's a little hidden from plain sight is welcoming guests until November. The Monastery Museum sits right behind St. Francis Church in Teutopolis. WCIA3's Will Simmons was there for a visit and has their story.
Nearly 50 years ago, a Franciscan monastery was converted into a museum, but religion wasn't the only inspiration behind its creation.
It was to celebrate the bicentennial, which was in '76, but also to have a place to commemorate our history, as well, our town history and the Franciscan history.
Now Teutopolis' Monastery Museum holds artifacts from its almost 200-year-old history, and it's still growing.
We keep adding things all the time, to our collection. Some of them are on loan that families want to have shown, but want to also maybe have the opportunity to take back if they wish,
Nosbish says the town was a planned community with German Catholic settlers who came from Cincinnati. They chose a site that lied along the old National Road.
A dirt path, at that time, of course, not any paved road by any stretch. So it was, hardship.
And it is not just Catholics who enjoy all the history the museum has to offer.
We welcome all, I think a lot of people are very interested in looking at something that they grew up with, something that will remind them of maybe their parent or grandparent. That it's a great place. I love this museum and I love everything about it. So,
in Teutopolis, Will Simmons, WCIA3, your local news leader.
The museum has Bibles and books that are over 100 years old. It also features 38 rooms in the converted monastery with their own themes. The museum is open from 12:30 to 4 on the first Sunday of the month. Decatur Park District is setting up kids for the school year. Today, they were offering freebies at Overlook Adventure Park. They're calling it Pack Your Backpack Day. James Anderson, who is a high school student himself, says getting school supplies checked off the list can be a big help starting the year off right.
The first 75 kids that show up will get free supplies, and they're also entered into a raffle to win a backpack. So you never know how much it means for a kid to be able to, get their own supplies and not have to go out and spend their money on it.
Pencils, notebooks, and rulers were just some of the supplies given out today. There were 4 backpacks being raffled off. All of them were also packed full of the supplies. The Park District was also selling discounted tickets for Overlook Adventure Park. How one town in Ohio is using artificial intelligence for public safety, and it's going to be a busy week for former President Donald Trump between the campaign trail and court. Your national news is coming up, but first, Seth, all of the eyes today are on the weather. Tornado that had touched down, there's still a watch going on. What can you tell us?
Well, the good thing is I think the bulk of the activity is now past us, so now it's just going to be talking about what has already happened. There's still a few storms out that direction that have severe warnings on them. We're going to talk about what we expect out of those, as well as what's up ahead here in the week, coming up after this.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff.
Well, as we were saying before the break, a lot of our severe weather activity is kind of now past us. We are still watching a couple of storms down in the southeast corner of the area, but it looks like we just have 2 active warnings here. One kind of on that very southern appendage there of Fayette County, another one down there in Crawford County as well. That one down there in Crawford, maybe less of a severe threat, more of a big-time rain threat. That one has just been dumping down rain steadily here over the course of the last 3 hours or so. That one started in Fayette, just kind of raced across, I shouldn't say raced across, just kind of crawled across Effingham and Jasper there. And that's where it's at right now. We still are watching for a potential with a few of these storms, but it looks like it's just going to exit the area here, all pretty much south of I-70 now, soon to kind of head over there across the state line in the moments to come. Still some strength there on that one, kind of south of Effingham County there, but overall the threat has now either ended or is out of the area. This is a loop of that tornado that moved through the Christian County area. We're going to watch this as it moves on through. You can see the pretty strong velocity couplet right there as it kind of passed on through over there in Sangamon County and just ripped on through Christian County there. It looked pretty impressive there for a while, and that was the big story of the night, was that tornado out that direction. We're just going to take a broad look here at the area. We showed you the storm reports. We had gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour. We had plenty of damage there in the area as well. Also want to talk a little bit about the rainfall, especially down here in the south. Kind of got that general 2 to 4 inches down that direction. It was a nice rainfall for those, and the big thing here with this was, because we weren't sure going into the day, the big thing was those up to the north barely got anything, which is a good thing because they got way too much there the other day. We are starting to get some reports of the damage, some images of that. Robert sent this in. This was between Taylorville and Stonington. Obviously pretty significant damage there, uprooting some trees, snapping others in half, got some roof damage there. Lots going on there. It was a hectic storm, and we even said it looked pretty darn good there on radar for a while. Looked pretty strong for at least a brief bit of time. And now here we are, things kind of starting to calm down up there into the Effingham area. This is still looking out there to the northwest, so just kind of some steady rain, if anything, going on there right now. Cooler temps, that cold front's going to drag on through and really kind of change the weather here for the week ahead. We're going to see temps in the 70s here right now and upper 60s, just 70 in Champaign and 69 down in Mattoon. We are still watching that tornado watch, but as you just saw there on radar, a lot of stuff is starting to exit the area. I'm not going to be too surprised if they just kind of start to peel back some of these out here to the west, maybe keeping those down in the southeast here just a little bit longer while those storms are still ongoing, but I would not be too shocked there just to kind of see them officially remove that within the next couple of maybe 30 minutes or up to an hour there. We're going to look into tonight some of those continuing showers and storms. Although, looks like most of it has wrapped up here. We're going to take a look there at that future track and show you the rest of the night just kind of sweeping on through. Could be the occasional shower here, still on the back end of this system, but overall looks like the threat is starting to conclude. Tomorrow could see some more light showers there. Kind of a nice cool, it might almost feel kind of like fall tomorrow. I know the temp says 76. That's still a little warm. It's going to be windy, 15 to 25 miles an hour, a steady rain. It's going to feel like a fall day out there. You can see future track just kind of bringing a few showers there to the area throughout the day on Monday. 7-day forecast shows a general cooling trend as we look ahead there, just kind of low 80s. Do kind of have my eye on Wednesday a little bit. Could be another chance there for some of those scattered showers and storms. Just going to have to watch and see how things evolve here for a little bit. But it was a busy day here today. Still kind of having reports come on in. We'll kind of sort through those. Looks like there was some pretty decent damage there in some spots, but hopefully things start to wind down here and we can start to get on with the rest of the night.
Sure, and you have a new storm tie, so everything's going to be okay.
Thundercloud tie.
All right, Seth, thanks so much. We have your national news coming up next.
Live from your local news leader, Marley Capper. Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff. You're watching WCIA 3 News at 9 on X49.
Following his arraignment in Washington on more criminal charges, President Trump has been back on the campaign trail this weekend, but he faces a new legal challenge over his public comments on the indictments. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
In South Carolina Saturday night, former President Donald Trump didn't let up.
It's a disgrace.
Railing against the criminal charges he faces and special counsel Jack Smith.
Called a sham indictment, and the man that's doing it, I really believe he's mentally ill.
On Friday, government prosecutors asked a federal judge for a protective order to limit what Trump can say publicly about the proceedings in the 2020 election interference case. They cited concerns he might share pretrial evidence and his history of making public statements regarding individuals involved in legal proceedings against him, pointing to this Truth Social post Friday, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you."
Unscrupulous accomplices.
A new Trump campaign ad targets officials leading Trump-related investigations, including Smith and several others.
The fraud squad.
Few of his Republican opponents have been willing to risk criticizing Trump and alienating GOP primary voters, but there are cracks in the armor.
And I think those theories, prove to be unsubstantiated.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis now dismissing some Trump claims about vote theft. And former Vice President Mike Pence speaking on Sunday's Face the Nation.
President Trump was wrong. He was wrong then, he's wrong now. I had no right to overturn the election.
Trump will be forced to juggle multiple court dates with campaign appearances this month, including a Republican debate. And a fourth indictment in Georgia could happen within weeks. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
What health officials say should be the new colon cancer screening requirements, and one town in Ohio is taking artificial intelligence to the streets. How they hope this robot on your screen is going to help with public safety.